got in here, you guys didn't see it, and just jumped right on my lap. So
Straight to your lap, yeah.
Straight to my lap. He's looking for a forever home, right? Ow! Ow! If you would like to adopt Carter, any other...
Sit down! No! Sit! No! Bishop, stop!
Bark at your dog.
Roof!
A 3-week-old daughter left alone just minutes in the home with 3 family dogs until police say one attacked. Around 6 Thursday evening, police say a mother and several adults were on the porch of this home, her 3-week-old daughter in a glider inside, along with 3 family pit bulls wandering the home. 5 minutes later, another woman checked on the baby, finding the unimaginable. A severe bite on the infant's head, one dog nearby, bloody around its mouth, immediately calling 911. Rushed to Helen DeVos Children's Hospital, the baby girl underwent surgery nearly 7 hours but couldn't be revived. Meanwhile, police say the 2-year-old pit bull and 2 other dogs from the home are quarantined at the Kent County Animal Shelter pending investigations.
I don't think just the breed of a pit bull by itself is not enough to condemn it. Any dog can bite.
All right, new tonight, a little boy's in the hospital after being bitten in the face by a pit bull.
Tonight's big story, how did it happen? We are trying to learn more about the tragic death of a toddler mauled by 2 pit bulls.
Family is thanking the doctors who saved the life of a 5-month-old baby mauled by a pit bull.
A blind man and his service dog attacked by 3 pit bulls.
A toddler is home recovering tonight. He needed more than 200 stitches after a pit bull attack on Tuesday.
Metro East authorities say 2 pit bulls attacked a man in St. Clair County. His injuries were so devastating, he did not survive.
Boy is in danger of losing his eye after being mauled by a pit bull his family bought for family pet.
Police say a pit bull viciously attacked a 10-year-old in his East Charlotte neighborhood.
A puppy, just 8 months old, mauled to death by a pit bull.
We do have to talk about a violent dog attack. It left a family distraught this week when 2 pit bulls mauled a 3-year-old boy and his mother.
Family.
Robert Hout says his 2 pit bulls are not vicious.
It's not the breed, it's the owners how you raise your animal. And no, they're not vicious. I didn't train them that way.
But Stockton police say these dogs went on a vicious attack Friday. Police say the dogs bit a man, killed a cat, then attacked another man, sending him to the hospital.
We know her only as Melissa, but she knows firsthand how the 9-year-old boy suffered as a pit bull locked its jaws around his leg and wouldn't let go.
That was the most vicious attack I've ever seen. I've never seen a dog attack a child before. I never want to see that again.
While many pit bull advocates say it's the owner, not the breed, who's to blame for such attacks, Donna Helms blames the victim and his mother for this one.
They've been told not to come, they've been told not to bring their children to this house, and they refuse to listen. The kid was scared of the dog. You can't be scared of those kind of dogs. You have to pet them and let them know that you love them because they're very people-oriented animals.
A devastated father says he won't be silent anymore after another pit bull attack.
A sad story out of Wilmer tonight. A 6-year-old boy is fighting for his life in a Birmingham hospital after he was mauled by a pit bull. It's the 2nd dog attack on a child in 2 weeks.
A toddler from Delhi is killed in another vicious pit bull attack, the 2nd in less than a month.
In Bridgeport today after a local woman says that her 7-year-old nephew was attacked by a pit bull 2 weeks after a similar attack at the same location.
They have witnessed multiple pit bull attacks in the last year, but since then, they claim not much has been done to stop the dogs from possibly attacking again.
This is quite a different case from Friday's pit bull attack of an elderly woman.
Yeah, no, hey, 2 recent pit bull attacks here in the valley are sparking debate about when it's appropriate to euthanize an animal involved in a violent incident. Yesterday, we told you about 77-year-old Nancy Newberry, who was killed by her family's pit bull while she tried to give him a pill during feeding time. Then last month, a 4-year-old was attacked and now faces months of reconstructive surgery.
This is not a little dog. This is a white pit bull with puppies. That's a triple whammy. I don't want to hear from all you pit bull lovers out there. I don't care. Listen to me. I think anybody that keeps pit bulls are crazy.
I can't get his face out of my mind at all.
Attacked and mauled by a pit bull.
I thought I was dying at that time.
Jeanette Cunningham says the dog that disfigured her face should be destroyed.
But today the dog's owner fought Burien City Hall to get her pit bull back home.
The pit bull's owner tried telling the city's hearing examiner today that her pet she got as a puppy is lovable, not dangerous. But you can't convince Cunningham of that. She sees a different image every single time she looks in the mirror.
It's a dangerous dog, and it's going to end up killing somebody.
After deeming the dog dangerous, Animal Control returned him to his owner and ordered him out of Burien for violating city code. The pit bull's owner appealed, calling Kiko playful and harmless.
Yeah, I understand what she's going through. I mean, I would totally feel the same way. But I mean, he is also my dog. I mean, I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to hate him for it.
The owner sent Kiko to live with friends in Eastern Washington. Cunningham says distance isn't protection.
One thing on my bench, and I keep it on my bench. It was a letter that was sent to me in 2014 by a woman in Yulia City, California. And she said she's enclosing this letter for me from a local newspaper. It concerns a broken-hearted grandfather who had repeatedly warned his kids about their pit bulls and their grandchildren. This was an open letter to the editor. He said, my 3-year-old grandson is lying in a hospital bed, implanted with IV tubes and many stitches all over his face and chin. His grandma and I were the last to be called out of guilt. He's the victim of a pit bull attack. Since the babies were born, many heated arguments about the dangers the parents subjected these children to fell on deaf ears. It seems all their friends have at least one. They have 2. These are his children. He goes on. But, Miss Nickel, what I don't understand, so you understand what happened here? Yes. What I don't understand is you have a dog that is clearly aggressive enough at 1 year for you to muzzle it.
Yes.
Why keep it?
He is my best friend. He's a perfect dog.
I'm not going to make a copy of this for you.
Okay.
We were sprinting down the street. We saw everybody around that gate over there and screaming, and there's 2 dogs just dragging this kid around. He was already gone.
Neighbors, helpless, looked on in horror as they watched 2 pit bulls attack the young boy.
Just watching it happen, nothing anyone could do.
6-year-old Camden Bozel rode to the ambulance by himself due to COVID-19 after that dog attack that happened in Schoolcraft. But this little boy certainly has a long road ahead to recovery.
A smiley 6-year-old here, Camden Bozel, is showing off a missing tooth. And again, for school picture day.
Literally, like within a second, the dog went for his face.
This is Cam now. His face is covered in stitches and has a broken nose and a fractured skull after he was attacked by a dog.
I really didn't know until after he came out of surgery.
Oh my God.
And I seen his face and I was horrified.
Cam's mom says she was at work when he was attacked by the dog while at his grandma's house.
Completely unprovoked. This dog has no history of aggression. He's used to being around loud, rambunctious kids.
The dog is a pit bull, but Cam's mom says she doesn't blame the breed.
And I love pit bulls too. I always have. Now when people are asking, what breed he was, and I just don't want to answer them because I know that once I say it's a pit bull, I don't know, I guess I would just say to not trust your animals.
And without a doubt, there's a long road ahead for this little boy toward healing.
The scar is going to be there for the rest of his life.
A scar that will cover most of a little boy's face. The attack happened here at a camper home just off Highway 30 in Pocatello. The father says his son went into the kitchen to talk to his mom and the dog attacked. Nobody knows why. Now his son has a lot of healing to do. 2 of the boy's facial nerves were damaged. Those nerves control facial movements, like smiling. Other wounds damaged the spit glands, the upper lip, and below one eye. It took more than 1,000 stitches and 6.5 hours of surgery to fix.
He's going to have to do a lot of counseling because he's going to be terrified. The poor 4-year-old don't know what's going on when something like that happens. So it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of counseling and a lot of love.
But Greg has a message he hopes people will take away from his son's tragedy.
Train your dogs to be nice dogs, to be loving dogs. We don't need any of that tough pit bull persona. 90% of people who get those dogs are trying to collect that image.
It's the second pit bull attack in the town of Delhi this month. 3 weeks ago, a woman was mauled by a pit bull while walking her dog. In 2005, 2 pit bulls were responsible for the death of a 5-year-old Fresno boy, Tyler Babcock. His death sparked statewide calls for a ban on pit bulls. That didn't happen. Supporters of the breed maintain despite these tragic attacks, the dogs are not the problem.
We cannot just blame it on the breed. That I don't want to take away from the horrible thing that has happened to these people, this family, this the community as a whole. I am devastated. I know our organization is, but we cannot blame it on these dogs.
But Merced County Sheriff Mark Payson has a different view.
These are rugged, vicious animals that, just that quickly can snap.
This dog is described as a family member. It's 5 years old, raised as a puppy, and tonight it may have attacked the one person who loved it most.
My pit bull attacked my wife for no reason.
Family and friends told Weeks to get rid of the dog. Now he wishes he'd listened.
And anybody got any pit bulls, get rid of them, because I never thought it would attack my wife.
That is something that a West Wego man thought he'd never have to say until Wednesday. That's when 3 of his pit bulls brutally attacked his wife inside of their home, severely injuring the woman and forcing police to shoot the dog.
She responds to you now when you talk to her. She can't see you, but she'll shake her head, yes or no.
Clarence Allen talking about his wife, Linda Henry, who suffered severe injuries Wednesday when police say 3 of the family's 4 adult pit bulls attacked her inside the couple's Avenue A home.
We treated these dogs like children. They never had a fight. They ate out the same bowls. I don't know what happened.
Any dog has the potential to bite.
But no one can ever replace Dax.
2 people with personal stories supporting opposing sides on lifting Denver's pit bull ban. First, Denver City Council member Chris Herndon.
One particular dog I grew up with is Rottweilers. And some people might say that that is a dangerous breed. But from my experience, I've recognized that it's actually not the breed of the dog, it's how it's raised.
But the 2 pit bulls that killed our grandson were raised by a loving family.
Sharon Saharsky says pit bulls attacked and killed her 14-month-old grandson, Daxton. He was in the arms of the dog's owner when it happened.
They basically, broke his spine. What else can you do? They were loved, the dogs were loved. So I get so tired of hearing, it's how the dogs are raised. What are we even teaching our young kids? It's okay because eventually somebody will change the rules to do what you want them to do. And I'd hate to have another family go through this.
A group in Ottawa is barking back against Ontario's ban on pit bulls.
With their dogs by their side, dozens gathered today to support the fight on National Pit Bull Awareness Day.
Who have been fighting the pit bull ban for years and say now that Montreal is facing a similar ban, it's more important than ever to raise their voice.
Max is the biggest baby, the most loving dog you could ever.
It's like our kid now.
And like any protective parent, the couple is frustrated the breed they love has such a bad reputation.
I think it's like racial profiling. It's not the dog, it's not the breed, it's the people that raise them, it's the owners. It's not it's how you train them.
That's right, Laura. Family members out here tonight telling responding deputies that they were forced to keep Buster locked away, separated from the family's other 2 dogs because he was a threat. Well, tonight, one family member stabbed the pit bull to death right here in their front yard after a vicious attack.
He was the sweetest dog ever.
Family members can't believe Buster turned violent.
I would have never in a million years thought that this would happen.
We've learned tonight the dog repeatedly bit Heidi Cooper and her 14-year-old daughter. Deputies calling this a vicious attack, stopped only after another daughter stabbed Buster several times until he died.
Devastated. They were literally devastated. I know it's heartbreaking for them too because they would never want that to happen.
You do know, Miss Karen, that there are some places that don't allow pit bulls.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you know if there are any places that don't allow any other breed of dogs?
No, Your Honor.
Only pit bulls?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you know why that is?
Pit bulls tend to be more aggressive, Your Honor.
Yes. So you know that about the breed of dog?
Yes, Your Honor.
So what I'm saying to you, Miss Karen, is I think that there are 128 or something like that varieties of dogs that one can get. you chose to get a dog that was knowingly had aggressive tendencies.
Yes, Your Honor.
If you choose to do that, then you're responsible for any injury that that dog causes.
First at 11, new developments in that deadly dog mauling involving a 9-year-old girl on the west side.
The owner of the pit bulls who attacked that girl is now in police custody.
Deborah Golden says it was the worst scene she's ever seen.
I seen the little girl flat on her back with the bite marks and part of her neck hanging off.
And now she's not here.
But I did not realize that they will be doing this. They're not vicious dogs. They're really nice dogs. They're gentle. I don't know what came over them.
A family dog that made headlines for being held under suspicion it was part pit bull has mauled a boy just days after it was released.
A family dog that made headlines for being held by Animal Services over suspicion it was part pit bull has bitten a 13-year-old boy.
We're hearing tonight from the owner of a dog who bit a boy just days after it was released from Animal Services. The dog had been seized under suspicion of being part pit bull.
How many dogs do you have, Mr. Butner?
I have 2.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have a pit bull.
On March 17th, sir, you lost control of your dog.
My dog was never provoked before.
Listen to me. But they can provoke your dog all they want on their property. They can go like this. On their property, you have to keep your dog on your property. If you have a big pit bull, sir, you make sure it doesn't get loose. Because instead of attacking the dog, it could have attacked one of the children that was playing in the front.
Never would attack any child. It's around children. I have 2 babies at the house.
You know how many times I read about that in the paper?
Not this time.
You want to know how many times I read about that in the paper?
I train my dog.
How many times all these people have read about that in the paper and heard the same stupid remark? It's the first time it ever did it. Never did it. It's around my grandchildren. I let it babysit for my niece.
This is a photo of Pun the pit bull and 2-year-old Edward. But things took a very scary turn for the worse today at the family's Anita Road home in Johnston when the pit bull attacked the child.
As a mother of 2, the news of a 4-year-old boy in her neighborhood being killed hits Crystal Huntley right in the heart.
Well, I've got 2 kids of my own, so I know that I wouldn't even be able to stand right now if that happened to mine.
Hillsborough deputies say young Logan Shepard, who a neighbor says is seen here in his mother's Facebook page, was with his mom, Stephanie Grolex. They walked from their house to his uncle's house a few blocks down on Rodine Road. Before Logan and his mother arrived, deputies say their uncle crated his 2 pit bulls. Deputies say while Logan was in the house eating ice cream, his mother and the others went into another room to talk. A few moments later, they heard screaming. When they ran out, Logan was gone.
You know, I'm saddened anytime a kid is taken needlessly by animals.
Logan never even made it to the hospital.
I don't want to see any kid have to go like that.
I saw this thing charging directly at my dog for no reason.
A precious family pet, Fiona, a black lab, attacked by a pit bull from across the street. Surveillance video showing the lab being thrown around like a rag doll, its throat then gripped by the pit bull's teeth.
I love her with all my heart. My children adore her. We all love her.
Anita Bolognese struggling to describe the moment the violent attack shattered the calm of this nice, affluent Bay Ridge street. Her husband is no less grief-stricken.
My wife and my kids, it's heartbreaking.
The family further saddened by the veterinarian's update Saturday. The owners of the pit bull say they don't want to discuss the attack.
Well, I don't want to talk to you. Because I don't want to.
Neighbors here say they live in fear of the dog. The police, they say, have told them nothing can be done. An attorney suggests it is a civil matter, not a criminal one.
A Saskatchewan woman is sharing her terrifying ordeal from earlier this month. She says her neighbor's dogs burst into her home and killed her pet.
These pictures of Corla Berg's dog Gucci are all she has left, along with the terrifying memory of the animal's death. Berg says Gucci was killed by her neighbor's 3 pit bull type dogs inside her home on an acreage in the RM of North Battleford. She says the dogs broke through her screen door. Berg says they cornered Gucci in the kitchen. When Berg tried to pull the dogs off, she claims they started coming towards her, growling. So she says she jumped onto the kitchen island countertop.
They dragged my pup out onto the floor of the dining room, and I watched her poop and take her last breath. And then they came and they dragged her out, and I was throwing dishes and screaming and yelling and get out, get out. And
The incident so traumatizing, Berg says she's staying with family.
I'm too scared to go home because they're still there. Like, are they going to come back and finish it? And my friends and neighbors are concerned for their children and their dogs.
The child was attacked by a pit bull. The dog is confined. So I guess the homeowner's dog, unprovoked.
Tonight, the dog that attacked and killed a baby in their home is at Animal Control. It is such a tragic story. So many of you sharing your thoughts with us on Facebook tonight. One is saying, "This breaks my heart. I cannot imagine the pain those parents are feeling." And they're telling us that the family didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, they're saying the parents weren't there, but an adult family member was watching the baby and very nearby when the attack happened in the living room.
It doesn't appear this was a provoked attack. The baby was with a relative, very close proximity, and the dog attacked the baby, and luckily the relative was able to rescue the baby from the dog, but ultimately the baby did die.
We're dealing with a 6-year-old female pit bull here. Officials say they didn't know as of tonight how long it has been living with the family.
Well, I don't know that demonizing the breed is the correct response.
At this hour, an 82-year-old woman is recovering at the hospital after neighbors say she was attacked by a pit bull.
Family and friends mourn the loss of their little boy tonight.
Killed by 2 pit bulls.
Very much. More horrendous attacks. An infant killed in Dayton and a Claremont County girl bit.
Witnesses link pit bulls, or dogs that looked like them, to both attacks.
And the big story at 5, a father's grief after pit bulls kill his young son. The boy was just over a year old.
The horror at the airport involving a 5-year-old girl who was mauled by a pit bull. The owner saying the dog is an emotional support animal.
A toddler is in a Lexington hospital tonight recovering from a pit bull attack that seriously injured his face.
An 84-year-old woman clinging to life tonight after 2 pit bulls attacked her in Harupa Valley.
Ralph Hughes raised these 3 pit bulls since they were puppies.
I ain't never had no much problem with them. I mean, I love my babies. But
that all changed Monday morning when all 3 dogs attacked an elderly woman.
I can't believe it, because they were so good with people, You think you know them, but you don't,
The victim was walking off Spring Lake Highway, a route she usually walks, when 3 pit bulls attacked her. When Animal Control was called to the scene, at least one of the dogs attempted to attack the officers. Beanbag rounds were used to subdue them. Hughes gave the approval for the dogs to be put down.
Man, that was the first thing, man, I wouldn't have no other way, I'm so sorry. If I could change, I would, but I'm just sorry.
What were your dogs doing out? What were your dogs doing out?
My daughter accidentally left the door.
That can't happen.
I understand.
That can't happen.
Her dog.
You have dangerous dogs.
No, ma'am, they're not.
Yes, they are. Read newspapers. Go on Google. Read about it. Do you read?
Yes, I do.
Read about it. If you choose to have 2 pit bulls, you are responsible for any damage that they do to other animals or to human beings when they get let out, on purpose or accidentally. Do we understand each other? Do you understand me?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand me? Yes, you choose to have dogs that can cause serious damage, that have killed children, that have maimed adults, that have killed adults. You choose to maintain those dogs as pets. That's your prerogative. You want to put yourself and your children in that position. This country allows you to do that. This country, however, does not allow you to visit your stupidity on others. Do I make myself clear? Clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Pit bulls on a day-long rampage at a Bay Area park. Dogs killed, a man rushed to the hospital, and children on lockdown at a church.
Terrifying scene inside a school in Oklahoma. A pit bull getting into the school, and authorities say attacking children, 3rd and 4th graders. Several were taken to the hospital.
Well, 2 pit bulls are being held tonight after a ferocious attack in Lincoln Heights. That put a man in the hospital.
Right now, 3 children are recovering after a pit bull attack in Lantana.
The owner of a pit bull is cited after police say his dog charged into a Northeast Ohio home, attacked a small dog, and bit that dog's owner.
Police in Nova Scotia are investigating a deadly dog attack. The pit bull, I can tell you.
Tonight, a most disturbing incident on Long Island. A father out walking with his daughter when he was attacked by a dog.
a pit bull.
A 6-year-old girl struggles to regain a normal life after she was savagely attacked by a pit bull this summer.
We're learning more now about a woman who was mauled and killed by a pit bull in Stockton last night.
He says the dog used to come over to their house and play with their kids in a friendly, harmless way. He doesn't know what changed, Russ. He doesn't know what provoked this attack. But this afternoon, the little girl is still in the hospital. She'll have stitches in her head and a scar that goes all the way from her hairline down to her temple. This dog, named Milo, attacked a 9-year-old girl. The official report says the pit bull burrowed under a fence from the yard next door to where the victim was playing.
A 3-year-old pit bull named Midnight.
Well, she's nice.
But around 4:30 in the afternoon, Midnight attacked the little boy, biting him, police say, in the face and neck.
They were all just sitting in the living room, just playing, and the dog just went after the 2-year-old.
Rescue crews had to fly the boy by helicopter to Johns Hopkins.
It's shocking me right now.
Investigators say the family owned the dog since it was a puppy, and there have been no previous incidents where it attacked anyone.
I think that's what dogs do sometimes.
That's what's really kind of shocking, is to think that Midnight, no, she don't, never.
I wish I would have been here, you know. I wish, you know, if we could all go back, you know. I wish, you know, that I would have took them with me, something, you know.
Juan Ortiz is the owner of the pit bulls. We have pictures of the pit bulls for you to see them. Now, the victim in all this, the 84-year-old woman, is in the hospital in critical condition. We're told she was simply walking outside around her neighborhood when she was violently mauled by the pit bulls. The owner tells me he knows pit bulls have a violent reputation, but he's still surprised something like this involving his dogs has now happened.
My dogs were not for fighting. They were family dogs. They're indoor dogs. I have a 2-year-old daughter, 5-year-old son, 6-year-old son, and a 13-year-old son that play with them. They've been with them since they were puppies, you know, so it really kind of blew my mind what happened.
Tonight, police in Pennsylvania say a pit bull that was adopted from Baltimore mauled a woman and 2 of her children.
Animal control officers take a pit bull into their custody after police say it attacked its owner inside this home on George Street in Dayton.
It's my fault. I shouldn't have been yelling at her. We was fighting over the kid and dog just went crazy.
Keisha Stroud is the victim's sister. She was home when the attack happened along with their mother and the victim's 3-year-old daughter. Stroud says she was arguing with her sister when the dog suddenly attacked her.
Well, they describe it as being their worst nightmare. The family of a little boy mauled by a dog is talking about the tragedy that took their son's life.
Just awful. 4-year-old Benjamin Cobb was killed by a pit bull his family had agreed to watch.
Well, police are still trying to figure out what led up to this pit bull suddenly attacking 4-year-old Benjamin. According to the family, they were watching the dog for a family friend, and the dog was not known to have any signs of aggression prior to this.
Dayton police arrived at the 2200 block of Riverside Drive. That's where witnesses say a little infant boy died. Officials say the infant's grandmother says she was watching him at her home when the pit bull attacked. They also say the pet was a loving animal and has never done anything like this.
A family dog taken away by animal control for mauling a newborn baby.
A pit bull terrier Great Dane mix mauled a family's 3-day-old infant. San Diego police told 10 News the parents were in bed with their baby and dog watching TV. At some point, the mom coughed and startled the dog. The first thing the dog made eye contact with, their infant.
2 after surviving an attack by 2 of the family's 3 pit bulls. The mother told me it was heartbreaking that it was the family's pets her daughter played with daily.
It was the end of March. Chelsea was dog sitting a friend's pit bull who was friendly until he met Mackenzie. The dog attacked the little girl, so Chelsea was forced to fight, shoving her fist into the dog's mouth and even biting off its ear, all while telling her daughter to turn over so she didn't choke on blood.
We are still trying to get to the bottom of what could have possibly happened when a woman was mauled by her own pit bulls at an animal hospital.
Via Fain was visiting her dogs, and in the backyard, they attacked.
Urban 911, what's your message?
Yes, we need an ambulance over here. A dog attacked her owner.
Via Fain died.
Police described the scene as a nightmare. A 16-month-old girl was mauled to death by the family's pit bulls.
A 3-year-old little girl, a toddler, mauled to death
by the family pet. Tonight, we hear that neighbors claim they've been afraid of the family dog, a pit bull.
A pit bull attacked its owner, then got free from its home.
Yeah, 2 pit bulls on the loose in that incident, causing police to put an entire neighborhood on notice.
Good evening, I'm Carly Barnett. Police are investigating a dog attack after it killed one of its owners and seriously injured the other.
A grandmother has been mauled. Her face is scarred, as you saw, and her mangled arms are wrapped in bandages.
And her attackers weren't strangers. They were the dogs that live in her own home.
Battered, bruised, and hospitalized. A woman talks about the pit bull attack she survived.
I had a dog who had a pit bull wrapped around my neck.
Virginia Beach is considering legal action after an elderly woman died a horrific death. The dog they adopted yesterday mauled their grandmother that same night.
The woman was in her 90s. She died this morning at a hospital.
The woman across the street in her 90s was attacked by a dog her family just adopted that day. Her granddaughter, Amber Patterson, says the 1-year-old pit bull terrier pushed her grandmother to the ground and brutally attacked her for about 5 minutes. She says it happened after they took the dog's shock collar off that he wore home from the adoption center.
To know that she just adopted a dog and it turned out to be this vicious to her, that was very shocking.
Forever Home Rehabilitation Center, where they got the dog, said in a statement they are devastated over what happened, and that the dog, Blue, passed his evaluations with flying colors before being adopted out to the Patterson family.
2 people are recovering after an attack inside their car while driving down the road.
The woman and her son were traveling with 2 small dogs and their pit bull inside this truck.
Ran up there to them.
But June Lisby couldn't figure out what all the commotion was about.
And what did you see when you got up to the vehicle?
A lot of steamed up windows, couldn't tell what was going on.
Just then, the woman's son was able to get out. That's when June realized the 2 were being attacked by their own pit bull inside their white pickup truck while driving down the road.
I knocked on the window and got the dog come after me, and then the young lady got out.
And her whole shirt was just like covered in blood. Her arm was just like, you couldn't even see the bone. The bone was gone. It was completely gone.
Gut-wrenching to listen to. About 7 minutes worth of calls to 911 and rescue. Calls coming from 2 sons who are literally helpless. You hear it in their voices. Kept back by what sounds like 2 vicious dogs hovering over their mother. Now, it started with a call from the woman's 21-year-old son who found his mother lying in the yard covered with blood. At this point in the tape, he has no idea that the dogs were the ones who did it.
When are you putting an emergency?
I need an ambulance. My mom's all done. She got blood everywhere. She's laying on the ground.
Where? Where are you? How did she get hurt?
I don't know. I just got out of the shower and I went out there to see if she got a trash can and she was just laid out there. I don't know what happened.
Now, that 21-year-old has no clue that his mother is very likely dying steps from her home. It isn't really until he tries to get closer to her that he realizes what has done this to her.
How long ago till you saw her? Where's she bleeding from?
Let me drop back in a second. I know she's got a cut on her eye and her shirt's all bloody, so I don't know if she's still.
Okay, how old is she?
40-something.
Is she breathing?
Breathes on.
Ma'am? Is she breathing?
It's like you're away from her. You got a pulse. Where is it?
Is she breathing?
I don't feel breathing. Get away. Get away.
Are you there? Okay, she got disconnected. Was she yelling at the dogs? Yeah. We're on the way.
Now, just so upsetting. You know, it sounds like that 21-year-old tried to reach for his mother, as you heard him say, Tina Marie Kennerberry, desperately in need of medical attention. But, you know, as her son tried to get close to her, you heard all that sound. Those were the dogs barking at him. And we're told that the dogs actually turned on him, biting his throat. Now you're going to hear his brother call 911.
Where's your animals at?
They're in the backyard.
They're over my mom. They won't let us get near. Okay, so they're by your mom and you guys can't get to your mother?
Yes. My brother tried to go out there and check her pulse, I think, and they attacked him too.
Call animal control and tell them we need on 246 that pit bulls won't let us get to a victim.
Now, something else about that call. The son obviously wanted help immediately for his mother.
Police in Virginia say a woman was mauled to death by her 2 pit bulls while taking them for a walk.
When Frankie was 5, he was mauled by a relative's pit bull. It's taken 1,000 stitches and 25 surgeries to put him back together.
Attacked.
Only Western News cameras were there to talk to that child after a pit bull bit his face.
A woman's therapy dog mauled by the neighbor's pit bulls after she reported the problem pits for years.
Boy riding his bike in Pasadena suffered some serious injuries after a friend's pit bull attacked him.
A Chunchula girl is recovering after her family says she was attacked by a pit bull.
A Baltimore City girl is recovering at Johns Hopkins Hospital after she was attacked by a pit bull.
Cliche about the battle between dogs and postal workers became a frightening reality for a woman who was attacked by 2 pit bulls today.
And neighbors on the west side take extreme measures to save a 4-year-old girl from a pit bull attack.
This sheriff's department is investigating a deadly pit bull attack that killed an 8-month-old boy in Lemon Grove.
Palm Beach baby is recovering from surgery tonight after a pit bull attack.
What should have been a routine call for an animal control officer turned horribly violent when he was attacked by a pit bull.
Family wants their next-door neighbor's dog removed after it attacked and killed their pet.
Courtney Gold was actually in the backyard with her 11-month-old baby girl. She says her neighbor's dog came feet from her baby. Gold took the pictures after his neighbor's dog broke through this fence and attacked his 9-pound Dachshund, Roxy.
We'd only been outside probably 2 or 3 minutes, and the next door neighbor's pit bull just poked its little head under the fence, went straight for my dog.
Now the Golds want that pit bull gone. To be clear, they have nothing against the breed.
I'm not anti-pit, I'm not anti-aggressive dog or whatever.
Just off the bus, that's where Christina Froker's son Carter was attacked.
He's just steps away from home.
By 2 pit bulls who police say had escaped from a neighbor's fenced yard Monday afternoon. Her son, still in the hospital, has serious bite marks on his arms and legs.
It's still scary because he's in a lot of pain.
Tonight, a 3-year-old is recovering after being viciously attacked by a pit bull in Clearwater.
My mom called me and said he had been bit by a dog in the face, and that's all she could really get out.
Mercedes Tuttle says her son Peyton was sitting on a bench outside RCS Food Bank with his grandmother last week when the dog attacked.
He was on a leash, but the leash was not being held by the owner. The dog came up to him, licked him, and snapped him in the face at the same instant.
And he has more than a dozen stitches.
This has been very overwhelming. You know, nobody really ever prepares themselves for something like this. The hardest part for me is that someone could allow their dog to do this and, you know, not take responsibility.
She was a very, very happy child, and she's going to be very, very missed. It's just something that shouldn't have happened. They should have been more careful with their dogs.
The makeshift memorial continued to grow this morning for 9-year-old Emma Hernandez. This was the scene yesterday. After she died a most horrifying death, the vice-like jaws of pit bulls tore her throat, and while bystanders and first responders did all they could, she bled to death before anyone could really help her.
The ambient sound of children at play here at Wiltondale Greenwood Park shattered in a fraction of a second.
It happened in under half a second. It just happened so quickly, but in my mind, I can clearly see the dog jumping up and making face-to-face contact with my son. And as quick as that happened, my son was on the ground.
7-year-old Andrew Mercier never saw it coming and now bears the scars of a large gash in his face, which required 15 stitches. The culprit, a large mixed breed pit bull.
The dog was on a leash, but apparently broke free of their owner.
But the attack has shaken the community.
The dog attacked him in the face, which is really scary because had it been closer to his eye, closer to his neck, I mean, I can't go there.
In addition to the physical injury, the unprovoked attack has also proven to be a mental challenge for the second grader.
It was very emotional. Andrew, being 7, had a lot of questions at first. Why would a dog do this to me? Why did this happen to me?
It has also taken its toll on Andrew's parents. While pit bull owners are quick to defend the breed, pointing out that all dogs are capable of biting people, the Merciers have become quick studies on the damage this breed can inflict.
Pit bulls do have a much higher rate of attacking the face, attacking the neck. Their numbers are so much higher than other dogs that we have started looking into. There should be special laws for these type of dogs, in particular the pit bull mix, because of these high numbers.
Chanel Villarreal says her purebred pit bull Oreo wouldn't hurt a fly.
Oreo, sit. Come on, sit. Good girl.
Which makes what happened a few doors down hard to believe.
I was shocked. Very shocked.
Dallas police say 2-month-old Braden Wilson was attacked by the family's pet. The child's father went outside to turn on the sprinkler system. When he walked back in, he found the pit bull mauling the baby in a bouncy chair. As the father tried to get the baby away from the dog, the baby's mother walked in. The dog bit her twice. The father grabbed the dog by the neck, dragged it outside, and shot it twice. Braden died at a hospital. CPS is investigating, but no other children from the home have been taken into state custody. CPS says it has no history with the family.
High five, high five. You want to high five me? All right.
Villarreal cautions don't be quick to blame the breed because of Sunday's attack.
You can't just give them the bad name because they're not all bad.
Security video shows a white pit bull tied to the Kylie's front porch in Kenosha. What we won't show you is what happened immediately after 4-year-old Colin tried to pet it.
And in an instant, the dog just lunged at him and mauled him, bit him in the face.
Colin's dad, Paul, carried him away to a hospital around the block. The owner tends to her dog. Paul says Colin underwent a 2.5-hour surgery. His initial injuries too graphic to show.
This is life-changing. You know, you go from a happy 4-year-old boy, perfect child, to having to face multiple surgeries for the rest of your life, revision surgery, plastic surgery. No child should have to go through that.
They don't know where the owner took the dog.
How frustrating is that for you? It's unbelievably frustrating. Like I said, it's just a matter of time before this dog bites somebody else. And to be totally irresponsible to have a dog that has done what it did, you know, why would you put a dog above a child?
I ran up on the little girl. She had been mauled very bad. The dog had just ripped into her.
Graphic details of the moment neighbors rushed to save 3 children during a pit bull attack.
I ran to the baby and I looked down at her to see what I could do for her, and when I looked at her, I knew that there was nothing I could do.
The third child, a little boy, died of his injuries. I spoke with family members by phone. They told me they are devastated.
I couldn't even imagine what that's like for the mom.
As for the owner of the pit bulls, police would not go into detail about any criminal charges, but they do confirm that a man was taken into custody after the attack.
5 and 6 years old, they were small kids. They couldn't even protect themselves.
Still bandaged from his foot to his knee, 6-year-old Christopher won't be riding his scooter again anytime soon. But it's not just his injuries holding him back.
I'm afraid to go outside now.
Christopher was playing in front of his house on Sunday when witnesses say a 70-pound pit bull got loose from a neighbor's backyard and came charging at the child.
I looked back. The dog was right there staying right next to me.
It latched on to his leg.
He's in the hospital recovering from a vicious, violent attack by 2 pit bulls in Lakeland.
The attack so brutal her internal organs were exposed.
From a cop in New Jersey who bravely rescued a 75-year-old woman and her dog from an attacking pit bull.
Tonight, an Omaha toddler is recovering from devastating injuries. She was mauled by a pit bull this weekend.
A woman in northwest Spokane is recovering after literally a wrestling match with a pit bull.
Tonight, a Stockton dog owner says she watched her Yorkshire Terrier get mauled by a neighbor's pit bull in her own yard.
That is where we are going to start right there, developing this story now at 9 o'clock. 2 pit bulls attack a Tampa man, dragging away the family's pet poodle, before also going after a police officer.
And some disturbing video to show you tonight of a pit bull attack in a Huntsic, Cartierville. It happened outside an apartment building, and it left a 29-year-old woman with injuries that have her unable to work for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
A man viciously attacked by a pit bull on Milwaukee's north side.
We begin in Neptune City. A pit bull euthanized after a savage attack which left 5 people at an apartment complex injured.
After emergency surgery today, she was attacked by a pit bull.
Police say Lan Cam Trin was walking down Lake Forest Way in Roswell when the dog got off the leash held by a 12-year-old girl.
Responding Polk County deputies now saying tonight they had no other choice than to pull the trigger and shoot and kill this rose-nosed pit bull after a Lakeland electric worker was rushed off this very property with serious cuts on her arms and legs from dog bites. The dog mauling that woman. PCSO says that deputy got the pit bull off of the worker, but the dog then turned on him, so he shot and killed the dog. The owners here telling me tonight Sophia is a 3-year-old rose-nosed pit bull. One of Sophia's owners, Matthew Overton, is now in jail for not properly securing the dog. His fiance, Sophia's other owner, spoke with us just minutes ago.
There could have been another way than to kill my children's dog, you know, like.
It's really disturbing. Really disturbing.
On the other side of this chain link fence, a lifeless poodle named Simba, Keith Roy George's pet.
They killed it there, dragged it across, then started eating it in the park.
He was walking his dog early this morning when the two came charging. He says they ripped his dog away from him. He called 911. A responding officer ended up shooting both of the pit bulls, killing one.
The police was left with no other choice but to put down the dog.
It's the second time we've covered an attack by an aggressive dog just this month. 2 weeks ago, a Polk County deputy shot and killed a pit bull in Lakeland after it attacked a utility worker servicing a meter.
If you feel the way I feel, you would never have a dog like that, period.
Emotions boiled over on Stahalin Street on Detroit's west side as neighbors learned that a dog had killed a helpless 3-week-old baby. Police say the mother had put her daughter down in a car seat on the floor in this home and stepped away for just a moment. When she returned, she saw this pit bull that was supposed to be outside attacking her little girl.
It was gentle, playful. It didn't have, no. I didn't see a mean bone in his body at all. I really didn't.
Dan Wood lives next door to the home where it happened. He says the neighbor's dog appeared to be well trained. Wood has a pit bull himself. He says the horrifying attack is a reminder of why he is very careful with his dog.
So when my grandson comes over, I put him away, you know, hey, simple as that.
In mourning tonight after a little 7-year-old boy was mauled to death by 2 pit bulls over the weekend.
Again with a Fox 5 News alert, a horrifying dog attack leaves 1 child dead and another critically injured. Police tell us 3 pit bulls attacked 3 children as they walked to the bus stop.
Details tonight after a 6-year-old girl is mauled by 2 dogs. Police releasing dash cam video right here showing the brutal attack and the steps that they took to end it.
3 minutes from the initial call, officers were on scene ready to help. Once the 2 dogs ran off, officers fired several shots, killing both pit bulls. 6-year-old Zainabu Drame was 6 weeks ago when a pit bull attack in her Westwood neighborhood left her clinging to life, her tongue torn from her mouth. The 2 dogs belonged to a neighbor.
Erin Ingram has displayed nothing but poise and resilience since a neighbor's 2 pit bulls attacked her in front of her home in March 2010 and took her left arm and nearly destroyed her right arm.
Now being safely held behind bars, this 1-year-old pit bull named Junior is responsible for a brutal attack on a young boy. 6-year-old Andrew Bolger was playing outside of this house when the dog lunged for his neck.
Swollen, bruised, and stitched up, 6-year-old Alexis is now recovering after a pit bull attacked her in her apartment building in Waterbury. They were in the elevator heading down from their 4th-floor apartment when it stopped on the 3rd. When the doors opened, it was chaos.
6-year-old girl is in critical condition after a dog attack in Westwood.
Serious the injuries are to that young girl. We're told she's stable here at Children's Hospital, but is in critical condition. Now, police say she was attacked outside her Westwood home by her neighbor's 2 pit bulls. We have video of a 3rd pit bull that was not part of the attack, but it was seized by authorities.
Kevin was attacked by a pit bull while at his babysitter's house. He spent weeks in the hospital. Needed a feeding tube to eat, couldn't even open his right eye.
How could this happen?
Destiny McDowell reliving the moment she learned her son had been attacked. Tecumseh police say 4-year-old Axel Foster was at his grandparents' home when he was mauled by what authorities say was a pit bull.
What if he don't make it through and I don't get to see him before he goes?
Pretty brutal dog bites with children, but never a complete amputation.
Axel's mom telling us her little boy was taken to OU Medical Center to have his arm reattached.
And I have seen some pretty severe dog bites, dog attacks, but normally they're punctures, tears, not completely missing a limb.
Advised fire. I've got him up here.
But that's what officers found when they pulled up to the home off of Sandy Rock Road and Old Santa Fe Lake Road last Friday. The little boy, Axel, just 4.
The dogs belonged to the grandparents, and the child was staying with the grandparents.
According to the police report, Axel's grandpa, Timothy, later told police the little boy had reached into one of their dog pens holding 2 adult pit bulls and 2 puppies.
His arm is in that pen.
Our officers attempted to retrieve the arm. The dog was aggressive to them. They ended up having to put the dog down.
8-year-old Soliana has 13 stitches in her face after being attacked by a dog in her own yard. Ashley says a dark black or brown pit bull bit her daughter in the front yard of their Gorham Street home Tuesday night.
A 9-year-old girl was attacked by a dog while she was playing in Northwest Charlotte. Tonight, she's still in the hospital with a number of bad injuries.
Harmony is just 9 years old, but she loves to participate in step shows and ride her bike. Mary Simpson is her grandmother, and yesterday she says a pit bull nearly took the little girl's life.
Rattled neighbors Wednesday night in Dorchester after an 11-year-old boy was viciously mauled there around noon by a pit bull in his own backyard on Rock Terrace.
A little boy is dead and a little girl injured after they were reportedly attacked by pit bulls on their way to the school bus stop.
Sean and his buddy were playing outside Saturday afternoon when he says a neighbor's pit bull came running around the corner and attacked them. The dog lunged at his friend first, nearly ripping off both ears and biting him all over his body.
The attack happened at this house on this estate near Caerphilly. The boy, who's now been named as Jack Liss, had gone to his friends to play after school. Neighbours say they first realised something was terribly wrong when they heard a commotion outside. Despite a rapid response, the police say the 10-year-old boy could not be saved. The dog was destroyed by marksmen. People living around here have told me they used to see the dog in the street, and they've described it as a scary-looking animal that resembled a pit bull.
A simple walk to the school bus stop lands 11-year-old Quashawn Abram in the hospital after a pit bull attack.
Family of a 5-year-old girl killed by a pit bull wants the owner held accountable. The Hinds County Sheriff's Office confirmed a pit bull that's in custody killed Anastasia Bingham, and they now know the owner is Dante Stevens.
A neighborhood in Lowell shaken tonight. A 7-year-old boy is dead after police say he was viciously attacked by 2 pit bulls on Clare Street.
The frantic moments after a teacher tackled a pit bull in an Oklahoma elementary school. It ran into the playground where about 30 students were outside for recess a week ago Monday.
This wild pit bull got loose and it's like attacking the kids.
There's like 4, maybe 5 kids that said they were bit.
More than a dozen children were injured, 5 taken to the hospital by ambulance.
The dogs involved in today's attack off leash on their Dorchester street recently. One of them mauled an 11-year-old boy.
A neighbor described those 2 pit bulls as aggressive and says she's not surprised to hear about the attack, but the victim's family says they're at least grateful an off-duty Boston police officer was nearby and heard their child screaming out for help.
Taken to the ground by 3 pit bulls, a 9-year-old boy relives the horrific ordeal.
This is a picture of one of the 3 pit bulls who took Joey down. He covered his face and throat from their gnashing teeth in the fetal position, praying the dog's owner would save him.
Just thinking, am I gonna die or not?
The young sister is in critical but stable condition here at Cincinnati Children's Hospital tonight. Make no mistake about it. Her injuries are very, very serious to her neck and face. They're the result of an attack by 2 pit bulls.
A high school student in New Jersey recovering from some serious puncture wounds after being attacked by a pit bull.
The animal breaking off its leash, charging the young man while he was walking down the street.
It says beware of the dog, and you shouldn't take that sign lightly. This 4-year-old Chihuahua may be small, but what she lacks in size, she makes up for in courage, especially after a pit bull attacked her owner's granddaughter.
She's got a few hundred stitches up here. The eye was split right open.
Her eyelid.
Like the eyelid.
Split right open and then
right across, and then she's got another wound here on her head.
Honey came to the rescue and managed to draw the aggressive dog away from Jenna. The pit bull was then caught and will now be put down.
More than a month has passed since 3 pit bull mixes escaped from this Roswell rescue and attacked Colby Prince while he was watering his horses on his own property. The 9-year-old's wounds are gone, but his memory of that day is not.
He's got nightmares, pit bulls attacking him through the window. It's just, he's a wreck.
I was like, help, help. This dog is biting me. I don't know what to do. I'm like, please, God, help me.
He is just 10 years old, but he managed to fight off a pit bull that was going after kids getting off the school bus, and lo and behold, the whole thing captured on video here. Look at this. Gerardo Rendo, who you just heard from, he said he was worried the dog would attack one of the younger kids, so he stepped in.
I tried to make it come towards me because there was a lot of little kids over there. When it started chasing me, I'm like, what do I do? What did I get myself into? I'm like, hopefully this dog doesn't kill me. I was running, he chased me, he bit me in my ankle. I fell to the ground, and then when it got me down, it bit me in my face.
My goodness. Well, he says the dog bit him at least 10 times before he was able to get away, and that several people helped get him free.
You ain't got no boo-boo? You show him what the doggy did? What him do?
On me, right here.
And where else?
On my head.
Janiyah was attacked by a pit bull. Middletown police say the toddler was running around outside this 11th Avenue home when the homeowner's dog broke loose, locked onto her head, and dragged her across the porch.
She had a hold of all this.
Unfortunately, it's a breed that is popular with a lot of irresponsible owners.
Don't worry about it, man. Away from my house, man.
Lamar Powers, the owner of the pit bull who bit Janiyah, didn't want to hear that.
Out of my yard.
We just want to get your side to the story.
Ain't no side. You want my side of the story, then be in court. That's where I'm going to tell my side of the story, and that's it.
Spokane right now, where police say a loose pit bull went on a raging attack and bit 5 people.
A pit bull attack has sent a police officer to the hospital.
During the attack, a second officer shot the dog, and the bullet went through the dog and hit the officer.
Again with the Cavalier Spaniel named Tanner, killed in a violent attack by a pair of pit bulls.
A woman and child were hospitalized Wednesday after being attacked by a pit bull in a neighborhood near Newport.
30 horrifying seconds will scar a Cronulla woman for life. Tonight we hear for the first time from Lynn Hills, who had one of her fingers ripped off when a pit bull attacked her and her dog.
It's not often that a 5-year-old turns into a hero, but that's exactly what Jeremiah Rivera did when he was mauled by a pit bull, attacked while shielding his younger brother and sister from that dog.
By all accounts, the child died a horrifying death in the jaws of a pit bull.
Turning to a story all new at 11, one Carroll County woman is recovering at home and another is fighting for her life at an Indianapolis hospital after a vicious pit bull attack Thursday night.
A man injured after being attacked by a pit bull.
And a pit bull viciously attacks a local deputy, and tonight she is still recovering.
4 people in all were injured when the 2 pit bulls went on the attack, with one little girl suffering more bites than she could even count. And new at 6, we've learned that this isn't the first time those dogs have been involved in a serious attack.
More breaking news right now. An elderly man attacked by a pack of pit bulls has died from his injuries.
Police say aggressive pit bulls attacked 3 people, sending 2 of them to the hospital.
Information today on the tragic death of a baby girl killed by a pit bull.
Faithfully, same time, every day.
It was Friday afternoon. Brenda Hardrow was taking her beloved Pomeranian Sugar out for her daily walk.
Almost to that black car, they came battling around. I mean, just running full force.
That's when she says 2 pit bulls came charging at her. Brenda says she picked Sugar up in fear. According to Pawtucket police, that's when the dog started attacking her and her Pomeranian.
This was the end of my neck.
Eyewitness News spoke with Brenda just moments after she was released from the hospital, still in the same outfit with bandages all over.
I can't get her face out of my mind. I can't get what happened out of my head.
Every day I wake up hoping that it's just a bad nightmare, but it's reality.
It was a day at the Tynehead Dog Park in Surrey like most others for Monica Piaseczna and her friend Jessica Shumay last Friday, when they were approached by what they describe as a pit bull mastiff cross.
3 dogs are just kind of around me, and this one blonde dog just kept snapping his teeth at him, so I lift him up above my head and I just turn, and the dog is just trying to grab onto anything he can. So he's pulling my jacket, he rips my jacket.
The dog punctured her buttocks with its teeth.
I just fall to the ground because I don't know what happened at that point. I look at that dog, there's blood everywhere. It's all on the ground. It's all on that dog's face. It's just, he's bleeding on his side. There's just blood everywhere.
After the attack, RCMP and paramedics were called and Piaseczna was taken to hospital for treatment. In the chaos and confusion of the moment, her family dog Bentley ran away, and that's when things went from bad to worse.
And I get a phone call, and a girl from Facebook that saw our post says, "I'm sorry to tell you, but we found Bentley and he's hit on the side of the road and he's gone, he's dead."
Piaseczna now struggles to walk, even sit, as her wounds were too wide for stitches.
We need to hold people accountable for their actions because dogs like that are lethal weapons. If I had a child, if I had my grandmother with me, they could have killed them.
Out 11, a cute Yorkshire Terrier suffering some terrible injuries. The dog's anguished owner says a pit bull from a homeless encampment is to blame.
And that's heartbreaking because he's very sweet and beautiful.
Freddie Eichelwitz is talking about his 10-year-old Yorkshire Terrier mix, Dexter, who was violently attacked by a pit bull Tuesday morning, who belongs to a homeless person who lives at this Miracle Mile encampment. Eichelwitz says out of nowhere, the pit bull leaped out of one of the tents at the encampment and bit Dexter numerous times. Dexter has lacerations all over his body.
What was the reasoning for this? Where was my protection? Where is his rights? You know, where's the protection for him? That could have been a young child, 6 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, an elderly person walking by. They would have suffered the same fate and possibly been killed. I have to register my dog. I have to get my dog shots. I have to make sure my dog is healthy and pay for, you know, all the services that need be, the licensing. But yet, homeless people, they don't have to feed their dogs. They don't have to get their dogs rabies shots. They don't have to do anything.
82-year-old Rose Ellis is still reeling after going through such a nightmarish experience. The pit bull managed to climb its way over this brick wall, darting toward Rose and little Daisy.
This dog come and grabbed her from behind us and shook her like a rag doll.
The pit bull moved on to its next target, biting and knocking over Rose, but not without a fight.
I got up and I was screaming and yelling and kicking some more, and then a bunch of the neighbors come out and help me.
She could not bear to lose another loved one.
I lost my husband in December before Christmas, and I didn't want to lose somebody else.
It was awful. You had to be there, you know, to see how bad it was.
Carol Guest and her small dog Rascal don't feel particularly safe in their own yard anymore. It's been less than a week since a neighbor's pit bull mixed dog raced over, attacking Rascal while he was tethered to a tree on his front lawn.
I was trying to save him, you know, because this is a big dog.
It would take 3 people to pull the dogs apart. Rascal would have to spend the night at the animal hospital to treat his wounds, while his owners would require stitches, shots, and antibiotics. 4 days later, they're still nervous about going back to their usual routine.
No way do I feel safe going out there. No, I'm nervous. I'm really nervous. If I thought I could get away with it, I'd walk with a stick. Who's to say it's not going to attack again? And who knows if it's going to be a kid this time?
Well, tonight, an outraged dog owner is speaking out about a vicious attack that killed her dog at a dog run in Hoboken. The 9-year-old Yorkshire Terrier was mauled by a pit bull earlier this month. Police were called, but she says the dog's death is not being taken seriously. Here's Eyewitness News reporter Lauren Glassberg.
Sweet is an understatement.
Patricia Enrico misses her Yorkshire Terrier.
He followed me everywhere I went.
And the Church Square Park dog run was one of their frequent stops, but Sunday, June 3rd, would be their last visit here.
I took 2 steps in, turned to close the gate, and that's when it happened. Seconds.
A pit bull mauled her Yorkie. Surgery couldn't save 8-pound Banff.
His eyeball was hanging out, gushing blood. I'm beyond angry.
Patricia maintains the dog walker should have at least warned her about the pit bull's aggressive behavior.
I'm so happy he made it.
Bobo the poodle mix is the talk of the town in his San Jacinto neighborhood after being nearly mauled to death by 2 pit bulls Wednesday morning.
He was a lot of pain. His eyes were rolling over. His tongue was sticking out. I thought I was going to lose him.
Bobo's owner, Enrique Carrillo, says it all happened during one of their routine walks. Surveillance video given to me by a neighbor shows Carrillo walking Bobo when a woman loses control of her 2 pit bulls.
When I heard like saying, oh my God, I turned. That's when she couldn't hold the dogs no more.
The dogs go on the attack, pursuing Bobo as Carrillo desperately tries to protect him, but they eventually get to the defenseless poodle mix. The attack seems to last forever, the dogs even dragging their owner at some points. Neighbor Leandra Maquinales hears all the commotion and comes running out with a stick to help save Bobo as the pit bull's owner struggles to restrain them. Photos from Bobo's trip to the vet show the extent of his injuries as deep lacerations cover his body and tubes are inserted to drain fluids. His eye is swollen and sewn shut. Doctors hope they can save it. But right now, he looks nothing like the dog he was before the attack.
An Austin woman was left bloodied and bruised after a walk on a trail.
She says a pair of pit bulls attacked her while she was walking her dog.
We're learning more about a deadly pit bull attack in southwest Atlanta. One child died and another is in critical condition.
Heartbreak in Hillsborough County after deputies say 2 pit bulls maul and kill a 4-year-old boy.
An investigation is underway after a pit bull attacked an East Bay firefighter, causing major injuries to his face.
A man is in critical condition tonight following a vicious dog attack on the west side.
The man says he was mauled by 3 pit bulls.
David Weaver was attacked by 3 pit bulls while he was walking through Louisville's Shawnee Park.
Charges of assault filed tonight against the owner of a pit bull who attacked a young woman on a subway train last Friday.
We got a poodle dead tonight after a dog fight in the hallway of an apartment building, and a pit bull is being held by animal control.
I feel really bad about it.
The dog attack happened here on Melrose in Pontiac Wednesday night. Oakland County Sheriff's deputies claim the dog was tied to a tree when a 3-year-old that lives here and an 8-year-old neighbor kid were playing with a male blue-nosed pit bull in the backyard. This is a likeness of the dog deputies described as being a year old, purchased by the family 3 weeks ago from this neighbor living across the street. The man wishes to remain anonymous.
There was nothing, when I had the dog, I had no problem with it. No violence, no showing teeth, no nothing like that.
The dog was never aggressive to you?
No, not at all.
The 3-year-old boy received the brunt of the attack. Deputies report the child has severe bites to the head, neck, and face and may lose his left eye. The boy facing multiple surgeries. The neighborhood 8-year-old has injuries to his hands after deputies say he tried pulling the pit bull off the toddler.
My focus is fixing the scar on my daughter's face.
3 times a day, Fanny Posada and her daughter Selena are changing bandages. Selena doesn't want us to see her stitches because she's self-conscious about them.
It feels ugly.
Begging for understanding on how to deal with that.
This is Bubba. He latched onto Selena's cheek when she leaned in for a hug last Wednesday night. Bubba's owner was holding him on a leash outside their home during the attack. Bubba has never bitten anyone, which will come into play for animal services.
The animal never showed aggression. So of course I had built a relationship with the animal in the last almost year, is why I trusted that the animal would not hurt me or my child.
Pit bull attacks his new owner in North Idaho just 24 hours after the man adopted the dog from Kootenai Humane Society. The man should be okay, but he lost nearly 2 pints of blood.
The attack happened inside this house. The man who lives here says he went to wake his daughter up this morning. When he opened her bedroom door, he says that's when the pit bull attacked him. Hai Dang showed us where the dog bit his hand, leg, and cut his head. Deputies say Dang was arguing with his 16-year-old daughter through her bedroom door. They say the raised voices caused the dog to become upset, and Dang says he was attacked in the living room. He says he tried to push the dog off of him, and his daughter even tried to restrain the dog, but he says it's very strong, and it wasn't even the first time he has been bit.
I love him too, but he attacked me this 3rd time. I don't want him coming back my house.
And last night's storms may be to blame for a pit bull attack.
60-year-old Nellie Davis died when a pit bull in her apartment broke out of its cage in a frenzy in Mulder.
We are following just a tragic story tonight. A 2-year-old has died after being attacked by a dog in Newman. I want to bring in our Mike Duffy because he's been following this story. So first, Mike, what do we know about this dog?
Not a lot of details right now. We know that this dog is a pit bull, a mastiff mix, and it was the family dog.
New at 11, the family dog turns on its owners. Even a knife and a taser couldn't stop him.
The dog named Scarface wouldn't let go. Guerrero's husband, Ismael, tried pulling him off.
No luck. Responding officers couldn't stop the dog either. They used beanbag rounds from a shotgun and a taser. But it took a tranquilizer dart from animal control to finally subdue the dog.
A child is dead after he was attacked by a pit bull near Altoona. The Blair County coroner says a 6-year-old boy died of blunt force trauma. A family spokesperson says the boy's mother heard screaming, then found the dog on top of him. The animal is now dead, and the family asked police to take a second dog from their home as well.
A vicious attack.
A 15-month-old was bitten, and the grandmother trying to help the child.
Deputies say the family's own dog, a pit bull mix similar to this one, mauled a toddler and his grandmother. The grandmother and child had just got back from shopping. Deputies say that's when the dog, a stray the family adopted a month prior, attacked.
The family tells me this dog is a 5 or 6-year-old pit bull, which up until now hasn't been vicious to anyone. And deputies say it will stay here at the animal shelter until their investigation is over.
My son could sit on him, lay on him, would never do anything to him.
Julie Wisman is still trying to understand why the dog she's raised from a puppy attacked and killed her mother in the backyard of the family's Madison Township home just after 1 on Monday afternoon.
My neighbor over there told me that she saw her and the dog outside, and she thought they were just playing back and forth like this. And then all of a sudden she saw her on the ground, kept saying Polo, Polo, because that was the dog's name. And she was rolling over. She said finally, she called 911 as soon as she saw it, and then she didn't see her moving anymore.
59-year-old Cindy Wisman was watching Julie's 2-year-old son at the time. He saw it all from just feet away.
I wish he would have had a gun so he could have shot the dog.
Now Julie is facing life without her mother.
She was my best friend. She was the greatest person to me.
And she has this warning for pet owners everywhere.
Just be safe. Keep them on a leash. Just keep them inside.
This was Lawton's pit bull terrier, Bruce. This week, Bruce attacked Lawton's mother, Suzette, and her boyfriend.
I need an ambulance now. And it's your dog bite.
A neighbor's frantic call to 911 shows the fear moments after the dog turned on Suzette Lawton for the second time in 3 weeks.
It's her arm is tore. The skin is hanging. Okay, and I can give you some instructions to help her, okay? I got to go find out about the other person. Is the dog still loose, and what kind of dog is it? I don't know.
Bruce was eventually put down, but listen as someone screams, "Kill the dog," during the attack.
There has got to be accountability for that.
And that's why prosecutors decided to charge Lawton. When I talked to him earlier this week, he said he purchased a muzzle after the first attack, adding he and his mother decided to keep Bruce.
I just don't understand what I did. I just own a dog and he messed up. My dog's paid for it now.
A pit bull attacks 2 children, an adult, even a pet.
A 5-month-old baby has survived after being attacked by pit bulls in his home.
Well, a man and his dog attacked by 2 pit bulls while out for a simple walk in Novato.
2 pit bulls are in custody tonight after a vicious attack that injured a Pawtucket woman and killed her dog.
Pit bulls attacked 3 kids yesterday morning in Baltimore City. 2 boys, ages 9 and 7, and a 6-year-old girl.
Tonight, a mother and small child are being treated for major injuries after they were attacked by several pit bulls.
They were out enjoying a morning stroll in an East Side neighborhood, but that's until a pit bull came up and attacked them.
A woman mauled by 2 pit bulls is in the hospital tonight with terrible injury.
It is a heartbreaker. A baby just 8 days old killed when a dog attacked. Police say it happened at this home in Kinley.
Around 5 o'clock in the a.m., police say a pit bull attacked an infant inside, killing the baby.
Evil pit bull after the brute viciously mauls a 4-year-old little boy nearly to death.
When the father arrived home this evening, he was desperate to get inside to his son, who police say was already deceased. A toddler was killed hours earlier. A mother's screams alerted the neighborhood.
She was just screaming at the top of her lungs. That's when everybody opened their doors.
Police say just after 1 p.m., a family pit bull of 8 years mauled to death a 2-year-old boy while the child's mother wasn't looking.
The mother had gone to the restroom. When she came back out, her
2-year-old son was clearly deceased.
The dog killed the baby, That's what I heard her say.
During the ordeal, witnesses say the child's father also showed up.
He knew what happened because he came out the car yelling and running towards his house.
Animal Services removed the dog from the house.
They walk the neighborhood all the time, and he's a bigger guy. So, of course, he can handle it better than she can, but the dog is a huge dog. They were rattled when they came out from what they saw.
They were in tears?
Some were in tears.
Some outside were also in tears.
14-month-old Daxton Borchert, the son friends say his mom and dad had waited so long for, died after being attacked by pit bulls at the home of a babysitter Wednesday.
This morning, the little girl is recovering at a hospital as doctors treat the cuts on her face. We're told that the girl is expected to survive, but she may need extensive treatment on her face. The attack happened on Sunday in a Dundalk home. Baltimore County Police say a pit bull attacked a girl just 20 months old.
The little girl, 16-month-old Kaveh Lewis, was dropped off at this Westmoreland Street home yesterday morning to stay with her 20-year-old uncle who was babysitting for the day. And around 10:30 yesterday morning, a female acquaintance showed up at the front door, and the two got into an argument in the front porch area of the home and began to fight. Now, neighbors called police about the altercation, but little did they know what was happening inside the home at the same time was really much worse.
While they were outside the home engaged in this altercation, the little girl was left inside the house with the two family pets. It's believed that the dogs reacted and turned their aggression to this beautiful 16-month-old little girl.
Now, the two dogs, both pit bulls, have been removed from the home by Summit County Animal Control.
In the bloody, horrifying aftermath, Animal Control this afternoon took a pregnant pit bull to the pound and loaded the dead body of another pit bull. It's in the garbage bag here, into their truck.
I heard her saying was get my baby, and the dog said grab the baby and pulled the baby underneath the fence.
And Detroit police showed up immediately, and they had to shoot 2 of the dogs to get them off of the boy.
You have an opportunity tomorrow night to do something that will help a little girl who was attacked by pit bulls.
A San Jose woman is recovering from a pit bull attack that happened while she was out jogging.
It was just like a swarm onto me.
Julie Mitrovich feels lucky to have survived, but is still suffering from the physical and emotional pain of being mauled by 3 pit bulls. Julie said she tried to jog around an apparently homeless woman who was playing ball with her 3 loose pit bulls when the dogs went after her.
I think I was probably bit by the first dog, and she was holding the dog, so he was kind of like, his face was right here, and one dog was barking and the other dog just kept biting.
She suffered numerous deep bites on her legs, arm, and hand, but she stayed on her feet and backed away, bleeding heavily. Bloody paw prints are still on the sidewalk where it happened.
Dogs should be on leash, especially, you know, when these are probably guard dogs, you know, and then pit bulls at that. And, you know, they were really large dogs. So, yeah, they needed to be secured.
The sadness thing hits constantly.
Ben Devitt fought back tears as he spoke about his wife of 43 years, Pamela. She was mauled to death by 4 pit bulls last May.
He did not care that his dogs were so dangerous to human life, and he knew that they were so dangerous to human life.
Devitt died after being attacked by the dogs while out for a morning stroll just a few blocks from her home in Little Rock. The dogs left some 200 puncture wounds on her body. Devitt's dried blood was found on the dog's fur after the attack, positively linking them to her gruesome death.
I constantly have to take out of my head the last minutes of my wife's life. I cannot think about that.
This surveillance video obtained by WLWT. Children playing outside in Price Hill as a pit bull mix goes on the attack, grabbing the leg of an 11-year-old boy and not letting go, and then biting a 38-year-old man as he tried fighting off the dog. Police list the 4-year-old pit as a vicious animal. I talked to a woman who says she was caring for the animal and said he's a friendly dog and is up to date on all of his shots.
No one expected this. Leo Markarian on the ground with these 2 dogs on top of him.
He just still had the guy around the neck. That I've only seen a National Geographic Explorer, a lion to a gazelle or something. I mean, right there, suffocation, the jugular or whatever.
A horrific attack.
a man pinned to the ground by 3 pit bulls, tearing at his body like a rag doll, the animals chewing his arms, legs, and neck.
Jody and her 2 kids were returning from a neighborhood park with Lucy when her son spotted the pit bull charging at them. It went straight for Lucy, clamping its powerful jaws on her throat.
It changed her life forever. Those words coming from a widow whose arm was torn from her body in a vicious dog attack.
When I looked up, he was coming across my daddy's plant right there, and the rest is history.
That history, her neighbor's pit bull escaped from their backyard and mauled 72-year-old Doris Mixon Smith as she worked in her front yard flower bed. The dog still latched onto her arm. She tried to get to her front door. Smith's arm was severed, and she had deep bite marks on her face.
And they start kicking this dog, but you know, pit bulls, they're a tough breed, so this pit apparently bit 5 people who all went to the hospital.
It's a terrifying moment. A man has to scale a fence to escape the bites from an out-of-control pit bull.
She just started her career as a model, but all that changed for 22-year-old Brooklyn Corey when her cousin's pit bull attacked her, ripping off her upper lip.
It just really hurts me that the way she died.
Mario Gallardo says he is shocked to hear his sister Claudia died from being attacked by a pit bull. Witnesses say they saw Claudia run from the back of this house with the dog chasing her. Sheriff's deputies say she died here in the yard.
This dramatic surveillance footage is shocking. 2 pit bulls brutally mauling a 67-year-old grandmother.
All I could feel was pain. It's like literally like getting eaten alive.
Well, this morning, a North Carolina man opening up after he was attacked by his roommate's pit bull.
Yeah, Dontre Davis spent a week recovering at the hospital. His face was slashed and swollen from the attack last month inside an Indian Trail home that's in Union County. There are videos of the dog sleeping with Davis, even playfully dancing with him. But Davis says one of the dog's puppies yelped after getting its tooth stuck in the cage, and he believes the mother thought that he hurt the puppy, so she attacked him. The father of the puppies also started biting Davis, and he says he thought he was going to die.
A terrifying scene at the San Francisco Public Library over the weekend when a dog mauled a security guard, and the whole thing was caught on camera.
It was a vicious attack. This cell phone video posted to social media capturing the chilling moments Sunday as a pit bull turned on a security guard at the San Francisco Public Library. We're told the security guard was taken to the hospital to be treated for what's being described as serious injury.
New details in a brutal dog attack in the upstate.
Police released dash cam video and a 911 call of a vicious attack that nearly killed a Spartanburg woman.
These dogs are ripping this woman apart.
When police pulled up,
She is just yelling and screaming.
they found 44-year-old Dreama Rice being attacked by 3 pit bulls.
Pick up the security video at 3:13 Wednesday morning. That's when you first see what Animal Care and Control has identified as 3 purebred pit bulls on the sidewalk in front of Greater Motorsports in West Palm Beach. You watch them notice something, and they stop. That something was a homeless man sleeping in front of the store. A different angle, entirely unprovoked, the dog's attack.
Angelina Lyota lives next door and is terrified of the animals.
I put the fence up because of them. Put the fence up.
You put the fence up because of them?
Yeah, they was gonna come in my house and near my house. I was afraid they bite me.
Her best friend is the victim of the attack. She says her friend also wanted to put up a fence, but couldn't afford it.
But think she wanted to put the fence up, but she knows having money. She couldn't pay the things in the house.
She remains in critical condition.
The scalp was removed on the floor. They've had to pick up the pieces and put them back together on her head. Supposedly, they're saying that the bone was exposed out. They're trying to save her leg.
Several neighbors tell 8 on Your Side they've called to complain about the dogs before. But the Hernando County Sheriff's Office says they only have 1 record of a call for service about the dogs.
I got one. They went inside the house. 4-9. I shot one, but there's still one, and they ran into a house.
All right, where's the person that's bit?
Right here, man. She's sort of freaking shreds. Oh, my God. They've been chewing her for like 40 minutes.
Ma'am, are you okay? Talk to me. Talk to me.
It was her own pet that set the dogs off. When she tried to pick up her dog to protect it, the pack of pit bulls went after her.
4 large dogs literally eating a woman. They were throwing her body around lifeless, limplessly.
Kathy Gillespie's fiance and this man, Aaron Green, ran to help, grabbing things from their garage to fight the dogs off.
I would hope that someone would do the same for me or one of my loved ones.
She shares a property line with the owner of the dogs, which are described as bull mastiffs and pit bulls. The two men stood back to back and fought the dogs off until firefighters arrived with a large pole.
That's something that I can never unsee.
In total, 6 people were injured.
64-year-old woman was on the receiving end of a vicious attack by a pack of dogs just near her backyard as she was actually walking her own dog right behind me here in this Spring Hill neighborhood in Hernando County. Witnesses describing it as a gruesome and chaotic attack in this backyard, leaving that victim severely injured.
But the scary part about it is that the sheriff just said in his news conference that had that been a small child, he wouldn't have survived that. My son is 3 years old, and he just left the house 20 minutes before the incident happened.
This is the pit bull moments before it viciously turned on one of his rescuers, attacking the battalion chief. He was bit on the left side of the face from the cheekbone down to his chin.
I mean, it's very, very severe injuries.
Alameda County Division Chief Ryan Nishimoto visited with Battalion Chief John Whiting at Stanford Medical Center. He said John is in good spirits, surrounded by family. He is talking and trying to eat.
He has facial injuries close to his mouth area. It's going to be a long healing process. It might entail many surgeries. As far as I know, he's still meeting with a team of surgeons to decide his long-term outlook.
There were 20 dogs inside the burning home, the majority of them puppies, but 2 perished in the fire. The 3rd pit bull mix is now in quarantine after attacking the battalion chief in the face.
Well, a violent pit bull attack. Tonight, the search is on for the dog and its owner, but this wasn't an attack on a human. KCRA 3's Richard Sharp shows us the victim, a 900-pound horse.
Apparently, they just kept pushing and pushing on the fence right here.
2 pit bulls escaped their cage.
They pushed hard enough that they pushed this metal bar, this flat galvanized bar, out of the clamp.
Then chewed through chain link fencing.
Get a hold. These dogs just went on a rampage.
And killed 29 cats.
This is just an example of what can happen with old equipment.
A Santa Cruz County neighborhood on edge after 2 pit bulls were mauled and killed a herd of alpacas.
Looked like a war zone.
The person who came to feed the alpacas found the bodies as well as the pit bulls still on property.
I was heartbroken. I just, felt so much for the alpacas and what they had gone through.
But the attack left some parents of her daycare concerned. Nancy says county animal service officers returned the dogs back to their owner.
Police say the pit bull attacked Pattison when he answered the door for a pizza man. And Pattison says when the dog went after his husky, he grabbed his shotgun.
I really didn't want to shoot the gun. The neighbor, I wouldn't say I like her, but, I respect her. That's her animal, and I really didn't want to kill the dog, but I wasn't going to let it kill my dog, and I wasn't going to let it attack me again.
He is a friendly, not a vicious animal.
A rescue cat's second chance at a loving home is cut short after it was attacked by a neighbor's pit bull.
It's been a rough week for a woman who lost her beloved Pomeranian in a pit bull attack in Fort Lauderdale.
I have never, ever seen a violent act like this ever.
The brutal attack that left Maximus dead made this community second-guess their safety.
Everyone stop walking their dogs. People are petrified to come out here.
According to Broward County Animal Care, Maria Vercherskaya was walking Maximus, while Lindsay Christie, who lives just around the corner, was out with her 2 pit bulls. Suddenly, Christie lost control of her dogs, and they attacked Maximus.
They were just out of control, and these are big dogs, and I'm not a huge guy, but I'm a big guy, and I couldn't pull that dog off for nothing.
It was a pretty gruesome mauling.
Thursday along Virginia Beach's Old Guard Crescent in the Campus East area, there are no signs of a dog attack that has changed one woman's life.
I have no doubt that this is devastating to her.
Yesterday morning around 7:30, the woman who was visually impaired was out walking her Tibetan Spaniel, which looks similar to this one.
They were advised, I guess verbally, by somebody else in the neighborhood that 2 dogs were running towards them, and then the attack occurred.
These 2 pit bulls mauled a small dog. The injuries were so severe it had to be put down. Her owner is heartbroken.
Police say a man was walking his German Shepherd in this alleyway when he says 2 pit bulls came up to his dog and started attacking it.
Our other top story at this hour, 2 pit bulls attack and kill a small dog
and then turn and attack that dog's owner.
Just hours ago, a man who raced to save a woman and her dog from a vicious pit bull attack spoke to 10 News about what he had to do to pry the dog from the victim. The woman is now home from the hospital after part of her nose was bitten off.
I had blood all over my shirt. I had blood all over me. He was all bloody.
A Fort Pierce woman living in fear tonight after she says she had to use a shotgun to save her small dog from being killed by 2 pit bulls.
We've learned a man had to stab to death a pit bull type dog to save his own dog's life. Thank you for joining us.
Austin police had to fight off a pack of pit bulls today. They were attacking 2 other dogs in their southeast Austin neighborhood.
And said that your wife and your dog have been attacked. So I ran out of the house. I couldn't find him at first. Then I got in my truck and I was on the scene. I saw my dog bloody all over the place and my wife standing there holding our animal.
During the attack, Hines says his beloved retriever was mangled by a pit bull mix.
A Chula Vista man watches in horror as 2 loose pit bulls run into his home and after his cat.
His beloved cat would not survive.
Out riding with his horse, one man shares the moment he was attacked by a pit bull. Richard saw a pit bull chasing after the horse. His friend Sarah grabbed the horse to stop it from running away.
Even at that point, I didn't think that the dog was being vicious. I thought that the dog probably spooked the horse. The person got bucked off.
The dog was attacking the loose horse. Turning to Sarah's horse, Richard says he tried getting in between the dog and Sarah, and that's when the dog turned on Buckshot.
And he was bucking and trying to defend himself, kicking the dog, stomping on it.
The dog's owner and the rider of the loose horse caught up, but by then Buckshot was already hurt. Sandy police say this is a huge issue in the area.
It is very serious, get an injury to an animal or even an injury to a human. It can be life-threatening sometimes.
Police say the pit bull was not impounded because it attacked an animal, not a human.
New tonight, a fantasy writer became the hero of his own story when he helped stop a pit bull from attacking another dog.
They are the polarizing dogs, feared by some, beloved by others. They're pit bulls. Why is this such an emotional, polarizing discussion?
It is the hot button issue. Our story hasn't aired yet, Heather. It's airing tonight. We've got more than 1,000 comments on our Facebook page. Already. Just, you mentioned pit bulls and ban in the same sentence, and watch out, get ready. Because it is this polarizing pet. To some, it's a menace to society. To others, it's deeply misunderstood. No bad breeds, only bad owners. That's the dividing line in this debate. Here's what we do know. 32 countries, this dog is banned or its ownership is severely restricted. And yet, in places like Canada, we've got this patchwork quilt. Banned in Ontario, not banned in neighboring Manitoba. Banned in a city like Montreal, not banned in a city like Vancouver. How does that make sense for public policy? Either this dog is a danger or the danger is being completely overblown. And that's what we're looking into tonight on the program.
And there's organization on both sides. I mean, there's actually something that we're learning, that a pro-pit bull lobby.
And when I started investigating this, I thought this couldn't be. These are multi-million-dollar animal rights groups. They've got lawyers, they've got lobbyists, they've got marketers, they've got celebrities on their side. The dog whisperer, Jennifer Aniston to Betty White, posing with this dog, saying that this is the perfect family-friendly dog. But it's more than a marketing effort. It's also a political effort. Right now in the United States, this lobby has convinced 21 states to ban bans. So if you're a community in one of those 21 states, it's illegal to bring in a pit bull ban, breed-specific legislation. So it's a political force. But it all comes back to this issue: is this really a family-friendly dog? We talk to people. We talk to dog owners themselves. We interviewed a woman who had a terrible, terrible story to relate to us. She adopted 2 pit bull-type puppies. She raised them. She treated them like family. She was also a babysitter. She was looking after a 14-month-old child one day when her dogs turned from pets to predators.
Well, are they lovable pets or a dangerous breed? The debate over pit bulls continues tonight.
Of course, this follows last night's horrific attack on a woman that nearly cost her foot.
Is whether pit bulls should be banned or not. And this, of course, is not a new question at all. And concerns over the danger of this breed of dog have been widely shared, with some people calling for the ownership regulations in order to stop the incidents of attacks on human beings. Now, social media users have again brought this up, this particular discussion, and they've expressed shock at the number of cases where pit bulls have killed or mauled people, especially children. And just last week, a 3-year-old boy was killed by a pit bull terrier in Cape Town.
Are pit bulls more dangerous than other dogs? It's a question many people feel very strongly about, one way or the other.
Something that caused them to become hyper excited. Then, you know, they're being held back possibly. Then they turn and they just lash out at anything around them, anything that moves.
Pit bulls are notorious for vicious, unprovoked attacks. This video shows a guy being mauled by 2 pit bulls on a street in the Bronx, New York.
Pit bulls are allowed in some parts of Montreal, but this comes as the city is considering new rules around dangerous dogs. Police were called last night to a terrifying scene, one Fareed Benzanati won't soon forget.
C'est un drame en fait.
He says he was just home from work when he saw a large dog playing with something in his neighbor's yard. He moved in closer.
Là, j'ai remarqué des cheveux.
That's when I saw hair, he says. It was hard to see, but I knew it was a woman's body. Police say the dog was a pit bull belonging to another neighbor. They believe it got in through a hole in the fence.
There's a lady laying in the ditch. And I said, "What?" She said, "I think she's dead."
She called 911. Multiple witnesses, including police officers, described the dog as a pit bull.
Obviously, I felt very bad that this was this woman's fate. But I didn't want anybody any further getting injured.
While Parker was still at the scene, the dog was still on the loose, and it was near her home here on this dirt road that the animal was struck by a car and killed.
When I drove up the McFettridge Road, I saw it, and I seen the pit bull. I knew it was the dog instantly, and I didn't concern myself. I took care of the dog, and it was quick.
It's probably the worst situation I ever seen in my life, ever.
When off-duty police officer Tyrone Gray approached the scene, he says people were trying to beat the dogs off the woman with sticks and poles. He says he knew it was bad and he knew he had to shoot the dogs. 64-year-old Jessie Clark was rushed to Detroit Receiving Hospital. Witnesses say her head and face had been mauled by 2 pit bulls who are reportedly seen often in the neighborhood. The one pit who was shot and killed was eventually taken away. The second one was shot 3 times but managed to get away. Police searched the school but found nothing.
I've seen a lot, but to see this, it really touches my heart.
I don't know what to make of it, but I know that it wasn't on purpose.
Heaven Estacio mourning the loss of her mom, Melissa, tonight. The 44-year-old mauled to death in her Somerset home Friday night, killed by her 8-year-old pit bull, Amigo. The DA says the dog attacked the victim while she was having a seizure. But her family says Melissa had epilepsy for decades and the dog since it was a puppy. They believe it was just trying to help.
What happened that night, it never happened like that before.
The incident is the second of its kind in Bristol County this year. A dog also killed a teenage boy in Dighton back in May, with town selectmen voting to euthanize it. The fate of Amigo, however, remains unclear, as the family of his owner mourns what they say was just an accident.
All my mom ever wanted was for me and her 3 kids was to have a better life than she could. And I just want to say I love you, Mom.
She told me at first everything seemed fine. The dog slept in her bed the first night, but then she noticed behavioral problems.
He's a beautiful dog.
Tia Walk says she saw the ad on Craigslist. Dogs available for $20 from Forever Home Rehabilitation Center in Virginia Beach. She went there, took a pit bull named Blue for a walk, then decided to adopt him. He arrived at her home in late April.
He slept that night in bed with me, no problem.
But the next day, Walk says she started noticing behavioral issues. Blue wouldn't obey her.
My nephew stepped back, and then just a second after that, he jumped him. And so I had the leash, and I was yanking and pulling as hard as I could to get the dog off.
She says the dog left this small mark.
This is where they bit, where he grabbed them.
In a text message she showed us, Walk wrote she was not going to be able to keep Blue. I can't control him and he's scaring me now, she says she told FHRC. Blue was out of her home after just 2 days. Then, Walk says she learned of a deadly attack last week on a 90-year-old woman on Bunker Hill Lane. The victim's daughter says they had also seen a Craigslist ad and adopted the 1-year-old pit bull hours before. According to FHRC, the dog was named Blue.
I was like, can you believe that the lady that passed away from the dog attack was Blue, the dog I had adopted?
She says she's sorry it happened, and now she's more cautious around dogs.
In the middle of an aggression, I couldn't get him to do anything. I'm just yanking and yanking. I didn't know if he was going to turn on me, but I would have rather had been me than my nephew.
Tonight, police need your help finding this man and his pit bulls. His dogs went rogue, attacking another dog and sending 3 people to the hospital.
Well, a 3-year-old boy is recovering tonight after a vicious attack by a pit bull.
Thursday evening here in this driveway on North Cole Avenue in Spring Valley, where children normally play free, but would always watch out for Max, the pit bull. Pix 11 has learned for months Max has been on the loose, chasing children. You see the dog right there, not once, but in at least 2 surveillance videos, going after people.
The pit bull was very easily able to go ahead and jump over that little, piece of lattice.
Tony says a neighbor's pit bull mix scaled a section of this fence and attacked his 12-year-old pet.
Dog was killed and a Fort Pierce teenager was bitten trying to protect that dog from a vicious pit bull.
She didn't want to go on camera, but tells Fox 8 while walking her dog on a warm November day, her neighbor's pit bull came running towards her, bit down on her dog, and took a chunk out of Mary's finger as she tried to pull the dog off hers.
Caught on camera, a little girl attacked by a pit bull. That 4-year-old is recovering tonight, and we talked to the little girl's mother and the man who owns the dog.
We are learning new information about a dog attack in New Jersey that killed a 3-year-old boy. Police now confirm that the dogs were pit bulls and have been put down.
We're going to begin with that dog attack in the Bronx, and Lisa Woodson was watching her 2 young grandchildren at the Eastchester Gardens apartments when that large pit bull suddenly lunged at her.
An East County woman tells 10 News that she thought she was going to lose her beloved horse when a pit bull came charging at them. She and the horse suffered serious injuries in the gruesome attack.
A Foley woman is hospitalized tonight in the trauma unit of USA Medical Center after her pit bull attacked her in her home.
A babysitter may not face charges after a 14-month-old child was attacked by 2 pit bulls yesterday.
And now when we go somewhere, she don't want to get out. She won't look in the mirror.
Victoria's grandfather's pit bull attacked her a few months ago, leaving her face covered in scars and Victoria needing months of treatment.
A young Chicago boy from Chatham is alive tonight in part because of a quick-thinking neighbor.
It was a 70-pound pit bull that police say came running out of this quiet South Side home and into a crowd of children.
2 pit bulls maul a 6-year-old Westwood girl, and tonight she is clinging to life.
Just days after the 2 14-year-old girls were seriously hurt outside this Ground Deer home where one of them lives, Police Chief Michael Cass is releasing squad video showing 2 pit bulls attacking the girls.
And breaking now, a child dies after a pit bull attack.
The victim was a 9-year-old boy. Police confirm the boy was visiting a friend. A pit bull at the friend's house lunges at the boy, mauls him. He later dies at the hospital.
I saw these 2 girls getting fight, and I was by them, and then the pit bull tripped me, and then it bit me where I always scratch myself.
They are known to be aggressive dogs. They are very excellent watchdogs, guard dogs, and they were bred for that. And they're popular. People have them, but they can be aggressive.
Well, tonight, a man in Lehigh Acres tells us 2 of his cats were violently killed by stray pit bulls.
Jaywan, this is truly a heartbreaking story. Just on the other side of this apartment complex off of Spruce Street is where Amber and her 2 daughters lived, and it's also where the attack took place. Neighbors tell me on Friday morning around 10 a.m., Amber was attacked by a gray pit bull.
We're following a developing story tonight out of a southwest Atlanta neighborhood where there's been a second vicious dog attack in just over a week.
Yeah, you'll remember last week Logan Bratz was killed and Sarai Sanders was seriously injured when dogs attacked them as they walked to their bus stop. Well, in this latest attack, a man was attacked by dogs.
And when we turn here,
Northwest Atlanta resident Gary Sims took our Fox 5 camera back down Chapel Road, where 48-year-old John Bullops was attacked by what Atlanta police believe are two pit bulls.
These two young pit bulls are being held at the Stockton Animal Shelter. They both began biting a man who was already being attacked by a full-grown pit bull.
When he arrived there and in company of the dog owner, and the dog was friendly and they went into the house. Well, unfortunately, he went out by himself to go and get some cigarettes out of his car, and that's when he became under attack from the pit bull.
Tonight, an awful case of a dog mauling in Lantana. Good evening. I'm Tiffany Kenny.
I'm Todd McDermott. Thanks for joining us here at 5. A man was badly injured in a relentless attack by two pit bulls, even as two people tried to stop those dogs.
On First at 4, we showed you the horrifying video. School dismissal time yesterday at J.E. Clark Preparatory Academy on the city's east side, a DPS school. 3 dogs appear from a house situated near the school. They appear to be pit bulls and are savagely attacking anyone.
Died under this tree. He was attacked by 3 pit bulls as he left the high school where he worked as a groundsman.
Charges are not being filed against an Owatonna man who stabbed and killed his neighbor's pit bull. Chuck Hale told police that he took the drastic action after his neighbor's dog locked onto his golden retriever.
We're here today to give you a status update of the patient who was attacked by the pit bulls last week. She's been to the operating room 3 times. Initially, she was treated in the trauma room here at the medical center and addressed from a immediate care standpoint, stabilized, bleeding stabilized, her wounds were dressed, and she was, I believe, intubated in the field. And from the trauma room, she was taken emergently to the operating room where she underwent a 4-hour procedure. This is the worst animal attack that I've seen.
Now we're going to show you some video which is graphic, but the good news is that both are going to be okay.
Thought I was gonna die.
John Brady describing this terrifying scene caught on cell phone video. The fisherman from Huntington Beach says he was walking back to his boat along the pier in Avalon, Catalina with his Jack Russell Terrier named Josh when 2 large pit bulls suddenly attacked his small dog.
Well, Jessica, the man says he was walking down the alley in his neighborhood when the neighbor's dog leaped out of the fence and lunged for his throat. But the dog's owner says there is no way their dog attacked without being provoked. He was walking down the alley near his house when his neighbor's 2-year-old pit bull leaped over the fence.
I have to say he tried to get my throat, but I wouldn't let him.
24 hours, 2 surgeries later, Cecil says his medical bills are more than $4,000. Bills he says the dog's owner should pay. We went by his neighbor's house. They would not go on camera, but showed us their new 6-foot fence and say there's no way their dog leaped over that fence and randomly attacked. Animal Welfare did seize the dog. Now, both parties here say they will go to court if they have to. In Oklahoma, you can be held liable for any damages or injuries your pets create. Reporting live tonight, Katie Blakey, KOCO 5 News.
A son trying to understand how his mother and his dog were attacked by pit bulls now says his mother did everything possible to save their pet.
Killing this woman, and we're trying to get them off of them.
Neighbors frantic as they watched a horrific scene unfold on their street.
Eating the hell out of her. They held her like lambs. They're all over her.
Yeah, there's blood all over the place, and these dogs have tasted it, and they ain't listening to shit.
They just ripping her apart. The skin, pulling the skin from everywhere.
Butch Alford grabbed a stick and a bat and ran back to try to help. That's when one of the dogs turned on him.
I had to wrestle the big one down the big pit of all of them. Wrestled and held it down.
He ended up with bites on his leg, arm, and back, but says if he hadn't intervened, he believes 54-year-old Terry Cosby would have died right there in the street.
Everybody's heart fell for this lady. She lost her arm, possibly a leg.
Police finally arrived and shot 3 of the animals.
And all I think was just pow, 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 pow. It was like Vietnam. And even they shot them, they still was trying to kill them. They were just enraged.
A Milwaukee woman attacked by 2 pit bulls, speaking out for the first time tonight.
I've had a total of 6 surgeries since Wednesday.
With 727 stitches all over her body, several drainage insertions, and a broken toe, 36-year-old Sharice Charleston talks to me from her hospital bed at Freighted.
My mental, that's going to take a long time for me to heal that.
Around 11:30 a.m. Wednesday morning, Charleston says she stopped near 28th and Melvina to drop off some items to a friend. She pulled into an alley and saw 2 pit bulls attacking a 75-year-old man and a 26-year-old man. Charleston says the 26-year-old was the dog owner, the same person she was coming to meet.
We are learning tonight that Clonda Ritchie's vicious mauling death was preceded by more than a dozen complaints to animal control. Alexandra Lewis joins us live to explain why no action was ever taken against the dog's owners. Alex.
In less than 2 years, the Animal Resource Center received 13 complaints about the dogs that killed Clonda Ritchie. Ritchie was calling, asking for help, and the animal resource officials, they say they responded to that call for help to the best of their ability.
You can't change a law, so we can just go write a ticket because someone doesn't like this particular dog or that particular neighbor. We have to see something that's a criminal violation.
Dayton police are investigating Ritchie's death, and although the dog's owners did spend the weekend in jail, they're now at home. No formal charges have been pressed.
Stanislaus County Sheriff's officials have identified the man killed in the attack as 59-year-old Juan Fernandez, and the woman critically injured is his 77-year-old mother, Maria.
The aggressiveness and the viciousness, because, you know, even though you got aggressive dogs, man, you can put them in the backyard, but you got to chain them up.
This man, who identified himself as Jerome, is furious after he says his landlord was attacked by 4 pit bulls inside this guest house he rents in the backyard of the main home on Glen Avenue.
It's more shock. I mean, you've got your flesh being ripped by teeth. It's worse than a knife wound.
Licensed plumber Frank Kenneby is working on a renovation in Algiers on Elizardi Boulevard. A week ago Monday, he noticed 2 dogs that looked like pit bulls eating out of the garbage down the street. Then they came after him.
Next thing I know, they're charging me and barking. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, 3 more come out of this yard, darting at me. And at that point, it's like 5 against 1. I'm defenseless at this point.
The dogs had him by the foot, the calves, the forearm. Those areas all needed stitches. The dogs also attacked his genitals. 9 days later, he's still in unbearable pain.
It's scary as all heck. A grown man, I'm screaming like a little girl. You know, I don't cry easily. And to be in that situation was very humbling.
This is 6-year-old Dolly.
She's a great dog. Really sweet.
Dustin Bishop says he came home Wednesday to find his beloved pet dead in his backyard near Southwest 59th and Walker.
So I went looking around to see where those other dogs had gotten in, and that's when I found the hole in the fence.
A hole he says his neighbor's 2 pit bulls created.
Door opens up and there's this same little girl standing right in front of me with a pit bull on her right and a pit bull on her left. I'm just kind of thinking to myself, oh, this is not good.
And it wasn't.
All of a sudden he lunges at me.
It didn't take long before each dog had one of Ed Klein's arms.
All right, Dan. Well, residents of a South Oklahoma City neighborhood say they're still scared after a group of dogs attacked an 8-year-old girl back in September. They say 2 people living in a nearby home owned up to 14 dogs at one time, and many of them were allowed to roam free throughout the neighborhood, often attacking other people.
Clayton County man describes how he fought off 2 pit bulls that attacked him and his dog.
Authorities tonight are investigating a vicious dog attack in the East Bay, and a man and a woman are now hospitalized after the attack in East Oakland this morning. ABC 7 News anchor Eric Thomas is live at the police department with the latest on the story. Eric?
And Dan, those 2 people you talked about, the man and woman, had to have surgeries after suffering terrible bite wounds to their heads and face. The dog that the woman owned, well, it was too late to save that dog. We did hear this afternoon from the daughter of the woman who was badly mauled, and this is what she told us. Princess Kennedy had the shock of her life today when she saw her mom, 54-year-old Nicole Kennedy, at the hospital after she had been mauled by 2 pit bulls.
Now and can no longer speak, but a 6-year-old girl who was mauled by a pit bull is recovering slowly but surely.
It got his face, completely ripped his right side of his face off.
We're blurring these photos of the aftermath because they're too gruesome to show. Tamara Doon Keene also asking I not name her 15-year-old son. speaking with me tonight in hopes it helps animal welfare find the dog.
We need the dog surrendered. We need to prevent this from happening again. If this would have been a smaller child, they would have survived. If it would have gotten my son's throat, he wouldn't have survived.
It happened here Monday when he and two of his friends were walking to a nearby store.
It went after the girls first, and he distracted the dog and unfortunately took one for the team.
The girls running home for help before he was eventually rushed to OU Children's, where he underwent extensive reconstructive surgery.
It's been a nightmare, to say the least.
Yukon police tell me the dog was described to them as black and pit-like with a blue or green collar.
In other news now, a dog adopted from a Maryland shelter is now being put down after attacking a Pennsylvania family. Now it's only doing more now in Maryland to ignite the debate over inherently dangerous breeds and if really all dogs are dangerous.
Now, the two boys were attacked back last Monday. One was 10, one is 11, and they're brothers, and they were playing basketball outside their home when a neighbor's pit bull broke its leash and ran over and started attacking the boys. One of the boys ran for help, and their mother came out and started hitting the dog, and then it attacked her before running off. The dog was adopted from the Bark shelter here in Baltimore. It's this kind of attack, that has prompted Maryland's highest court to determine that pit bulls are inherently dangerous. That happened last year. Now lawmakers are trying to come up with a less breed-specific law this year.
I don't know what happened to him. He just snapped.
There's three, I guess, aggressive, nasty pits in this house. We're going in with kennels.
Standoff, dangerous suspect holding off Cleveland police and animal control officers. The suspect, a big, angry pit bull.
And then he grabbed my arm, pulled me off the couch, and was tearing my arm apart. My husband grabbed him because he was attacking me, and then he attacked my husband.
A blood-stained sidewalk is where police say an 80-year-old woman was attacked by a pit bull.
A beloved pet viciously killed right in front of its owner. His other dog severely bitten.
They were my kids.
Corky and Chloe were Mark Fabich's world, a world that he says changed when this neighbor dog, Moose, entered.
Dog just came out of nowhere and got my dog.
In an instant, Fabich says Corky was in the pit bull's mouth, and Fabich says he was punching Moose.
And then I went up and sprayed the pit bull in the eyes with the pepper spray, and he let go of that dog.
A 9-year-old Madison boy is recovering tonight after a brutal dog attack yesterday afternoon.
It was a very scary afternoon for residents in this West Side Madison neighborhood. Shortly before 2 Wednesday afternoon, a 2-year-old pit bull named Ace escaped from his home.
And ran after and attacked a 9-year-old boy and bit the boy in several places.
The son literally pried the dog's mouth up off of her.
Katie Weeks is living every mother's nightmare. Late Monday night, her 5-year-old daughter Selena was attacked by a neighbor's pit bull.
It was a matter of seconds, and that little girl's face was completely disfigured.
Pit bull attacked a woman and another dog in Youngstown this afternoon.
A Denver dog owner says he was duped. He says his dog was bitten by a pit bull. He says that dog's owner offered to help and then took off.
2 women were hospitalized today after being attacked by their family dog in the Rosedale area. Sheriffs tell us one of the roommates began to have a seizure and the other was trying to help her. The dog apparently thought the two were fighting and began to attack them. The owner of the dog actually put it inside a room and closed the door so she could call for help. But her roommate woke up from the seizure and panicked and accidentally went into the room where a second attack occurred.
Dallas County man is out of the hospital and recovering at home right now after he was attacked by his pit bull.
28-month-old twins on a wagon ride, a basketball goal for a 6-year-old, a neighborhood full of children, and now fear.
Just scary. I mean, how would you protect both of them at the same time, with the dog?
This pit bull named Jetty is behind tall fences at Grapevine Animal Control. Saturday morning, he was loose, charging up High Timber Drive with no collar. He lunged at a garage door and then lunged at Channel 8 health reporter Janet St. James and her 14-year-old border collie, Emmy.
Patrick, the 2 pit bulls are under quarantine here in Milwaukee tonight at the Milwaukee Area Domestic Animal Control Commission. Investigators say one of the dogs attacked a 14-year-old girl last night.
The vicious attack by a dog lands a utility worker in the hospital.
The female worker was in the backyard of a Huber Heights home when that happened.
When her daughter let the pit bull out into the backyard, it sent that utility worker here to Miami Valley Hospital with deep cuts and gashes to her legs and lower body.
New at 5 o'clock, we are hearing from a woman who witnessed a pit bull attack in Mobile today. The pit bull attacked a woman walking her dog.
It's not unusual to find a dog on a train in New York City, but riders say a pit bull attacking a passenger is beyond crossing the line.
Onto this now tonight, a morning walk turns violent for this little dog. The confrontation that sent his owner straight to the hospital. Now, the dog and the owner were attacked on the street by a pit bull.
Pit bull that mauled an 11-year-old boy who was playing in his backyard on Wednesday has been euthanized.
That 23-year-old released from the hospital just a couple of hours ago. You could see the pain on his face, and you could obviously see the blood and the wounds all over his arm. He says he was just walking to the store when that dog attacked. We have to warn you, the video that you will see in this story is graphic.
Now just leaking blood and all that.
John Fogel had no time to think, no time to run.
It got me on the arm first, then it got me on the leg, then got me on my other arm.
Around 12:45 this afternoon, Fogel was mauled by a pit bull in his Lakeland neighborhood.
Really good kid. Amy Plyler had trouble comprehending the sudden death of her cousin Michaela Woodard, who one day earlier was loving life and playing in the snow. So smart. And she was loved very much. The 5-year-old was killed Wednesday and her grandmother Nancy Preston was injured after both were mauled by 2 pit bulls owned by neighbors.
A Long Island playdate turned deadly Sunday when a pit bull attacked and killed a 9-year-old girl.
She was convicted of allowing her vicious pit bulls to attack and ultimately kill an elderly woman.
An Arvada dog owner sentenced to jail time after her pit bull kills another dog.
The officer tried to kick him, just to get him away from him, and he just kept biting him. It was a horrible thing to watch.
This Town of Clay woman watches from her front door as a deputy sheriff is forced to shoot and kill an aggressive pit bull.
She's a very special dog to me.
Sharif Porter has had her mini schnauzer Lily for 4 years.
She goes with me everywhere.
Earlier this week, Porter had the scare of her life.
I was terrified that the dog was going to come after me to bite me.
Porter says the attack happened Wednesday evening. It was her usual walk with Lily in front of Presbyterian Hospital here when all of a sudden...
I cried for sure.
A pit bull charged at them, taking a bite out of Lily's backside.
The way it is now, especially in the last, 2 months, it's just crazy here in Haverhill.
Dog owners in Haverhill, be forewarned. City officials are looking to implement a new vicious dog ordinance after 11-year-old Robert Stickney was mauled by a Mastiff pit bull Thursday.
3 children attacked by a pack of pit bulls, and the dog's owner may face charges.
A 6-year-old girl is fighting for her life tonight after police say she was brutally attacked by 2 pit bulls.
What they describe as a pack of pit bulls came up and started attacking him and biting him. Now, deputies say an anonymous caller called 911 saying they heard someone screaming. When deputies showed up, the dogs were attacking this man and they tried to get them off of him.
On the Crime Watch tonight, Santa Cruz County Sheriff's deputies are continuing to look for the owner of 3 pit bulls that attacked an Aptos man and his dog over the weekend.
2 pit bulls go on attack, terrorizing people in the heart of downtown Stockton. They attacked 2 men. Tonight, one of them's in the hospital.
2 pit bulls shot, 1 killed by police after they attacked a smaller dog, and the woman taking care of it.
Monday couldn't have got off to a more controversial start in the town of Washington, where law enforcement began talk of a controversial ordinance involving pit bulls, one that requires bull owners living inside the city limits to comply with or risk losing their animals forever.
Tonight, an Omaha mother is looking for answers after her 9-year-old daughter is attacked by a neighbor's pit bull.
At 6, a violent dog attack. A pit bull escapes from a Providence backyard and runs through the neighborhood, biting 3 children along the way.
An unneutered pit bull attacked a 5-year-old boy and bit him in the leg.
A Kelowna family had a rude awakening Friday night when their son was bit by a pit bull while visiting a friend's home.
Story on Channel 13 Action News. A little boy watches as his grandfather is attacked by a vicious dog.
Well, Nita, this man is awaiting reconstructive surgery here at the hospital. We spoke on the phone earlier tonight. He says he will bounce back from this, but is going through a lot of pain. He says this pit bull ripped apart all of the tendons and ligaments in his right hand and also sunk its teeth into his stomach.
And he was like,
This 5-year-old says he's never seen a dog quite as vicious as this.
A pit bull escapes and attacks a group of children for the second time in 4 days.
The victims described this as a dog mauling spree that started a couple of blocks away and ended up here on this playground and park with several people being bitten over and over again.
It was horrible, very horrible. I actually thought they weren't going to stop.
Alfredo Ramos and his 71-year-old mother, Rita Torres, are covered in bite wounds from their arms to their legs and feet. They say the neighbor's pit bull terrier mix were loose in the street and went after them on Tuesday.
8-year-old Andrew Campbell's waking up in jail this morning. He's facing charges after his pit bull, according to police, attacked a 4-year-old in Dillon.
Right around 6:30 this morning, witnesses are saying that the pit bull got loose from a yard and attacked a small dog and its owner. Police still haven't said if the owner of that pit bull will be facing any charges.
I wish the man didn't have to go like that.
A visit turns deadly. Detectives confirm 43-year-old Earl Stevens Jr. died after a pit bull attacked.
Good evening, I'm Lloyd Sowers. Thanks for being with us tonight. A family visit turning deadly. Now a 4-year-old boy is dead. Deputies say 2 pit bulls are to blame for this.
Horrifying video shows a pit bull pounce on a 6-year-old boy and knock him to the ground.
Carol and Allen, that dog appeared to be about the same size and weight as that small child, who tonight has his quick-thinking cousin to thank for escaping uninjured. It was a terrifying encounter with an angry canine. The relentless attack on a family's front steps, seemingly unending.
So she suffered several injuries, and her own terrier was killed while out for a walk.
Fingers were crushed in the attack, scrapes, bruising.
Last month, she took her beloved West Highland White Terrier Casper for a walk in the evening. Police say she was just a block from home near the corner of Greeley and Washington Streets when she and Casper were attacked by a pit bull.
I picked Casper up and tried to shield him against a car because I saw him coming, tearing his leg. There's nothing I could do.
She says Casper weighed just 20 pounds.
Her dog of 11 years was killed right before her eyes.
There needs to be change. This has been a continuous problem in this village, and nothing's being done.
Right now at 6, today's TMJ4 exclusive. 2 pit bulls viciously attack an elderly woman's dog and 3 people who tried to stop them.
The jury trial begins for the owner of the 2 dogs that mauled an 82-year-old woman to death.
At this hour, 2 Milton, Florida homeowners are behind bars and a deputy hospitalized after authorities say the homeowners commanded their pit bull to attack.
Heartland resident posted these pictures on Facebook showing a small dog named Buster with holes in his ears and cuts and bruises on his back and legs. She said he'd been attacked in front of her home Friday by 2 other dogs, pit bull mixes.
When the dogs broke out of the back, they knocked one of the slats off of the back fence. It kind of chased after her and pulled the dog out of her arms.
This screaming could be heard down the block, says Andrea Mitchell, who ran outside to see what was happening.
She tried to fight it. She told me that she was, poking the eyes, getting her hands in the mouth. She got her hands all bitten up. Her hands were pretty bloody.
But that didn't stop the dogs.
And the pit bull just kind of kept throwing the dog and kind of ripping it back and forth.
A police officer shoots and kills a pit bull that police say was attacking an officer at this home.
New at 6, an uptown woman and her dog are recovering after being brutally attacked by another dog Sunday morning.
I mean, I really thought at that point that dog's dead.
Glenn Bulaka can't believe he captured this video.
I saw about 3 inches of blood across the neck.
On Saturday morning, he visited the Keller Regional Adoption Center, and just before its doors opened, Bulaka saw a pit bull mix attack a smaller dog.
A man driving down Ardmore couldn't believe what he was seeing, rolling up on a mail carrier being attacked by a dog. Beeping his horn, it's not working. The animal's jaw is locked on the mail carrier. A neighbor tries to pry him off. No good. Another neighbor, a woman, comes out with a broom, beats the animal. It does no good. The man behind the wheel of the car gets out, grabs a trash can. It doesn't work. Some of what happens here is too much, and we can't show it. He then uses a wheel lock to beat on the animal. It's hard to watch. It doesn't work either. That poor mail carrier trapped on the ground by the animal. A neighbor grabs the animal by the leash and gets him off. The dog sits down in the middle of the road. Meanwhile, the driver of the car gets the mail carrier in his car for protection.
Thank you. No problem, man.
Find your dog, Muttley. He got you. Let me call the ambulance.
The two take a moment to catch their breath before he calls 911, and then the animal starts after another neighbor.
Heard from several witnesses that saw this all unfold, saying they thought at first they couldn't believe what they were seeing. They thought that Short's body may have been rolled up carpet or even a mannequin. Then they found out it was her body being drugged by those two pit bulls.
I love her and miss her terribly.
Tears today in court from a man whose wife was killed in a violent pit bull attack.
Police called to this home in Maryborough at 9 o'clock this morning were confronted with a tragic scene.
Upon arrival, they've located a deceased female.
The three pit bulls were in an enclosed yard. Police don't know what prompted them to attack.
The woman rushed to the hospital today after she was attacked and seriously hurt by a pit bull in the Bronx.
Woman stabs two pit bulls to death to avoid an attack.
This case has a lot of people scratching their heads. A Texas City family loses its dog in a vicious attack in their own backyard, and now they're being sued for as much as $1 million by the owner of the 4 dogs they say killed their pet. The Baker family says their next-door neighbor's 4 dogs, 3 pit bulls and 1 pit bull mix, charged into their backyard.
The dogs broke these slats off, and this is the hole they come in.
And attacked their 10-year-old beagle, Bailey. After several minutes, Steve Baker says his dog gave up the fight.
And Bailey walked over here, laid up next to the house, and died.
Emerald White, the owner of the 4 dogs, tried to intervene. The Baker family says she came through the yard and managed to get one of her dogs out while screaming at Tiffany to call police. White's dogs were not hurt, but now she is suing the Baker family for damages of up to $1 million.
I just screamed. That's all. I screamed.
Well, this Pacific Beach woman lived through a nightmare. She was helpless as a pit bull grabbed her small dog by its face. This Yorkie named Gunner. Gunner later died.
I need an ambulance to meet me at 180th, and a child got bit by mauled by some pit bulls.
A terrifying call coming into 911 Monday.
It's almost to the entrance of where she enters her workplace. So she said when she got there, the gate, a brown and white pit bull rushed out at her, and it grabbed her in the leg, in the left leg, and she was bitten all over, in her head, above her eyebrows, on her legs, thighs, arms. I felt so horrible.
Around 6 o'clock Friday night, Mario came out to do a little trick-or-treating and only got a few feet away from his home when he saw a pit bull come racing around the corner and meet him face to face.
All of a sudden, we see this dog come charging. And it was dark at night, too, and it was a dark color animal, so it wasn't really, we couldn't even spot it till the last second.
Mario was rushed to the hospital where it took nearly 50 stitches to close up the gash. His uncle restrained the dog until animal control arrived. The pit bull was taken to Thomas J. O'Connor Animal Control and Adoption Center in Springfield.
Pit bulls have the potential to be very dangerous when they attack.
And then the dog latched onto this leg first, and I started kicking. No, he latched onto this leg, and I started kicking him with this leg, and he latched onto this. And it was nothing I could do. I was already on the ground.
We tried to get the dog.
Everybody was trying. I mean, there was people with pellet guns and everything, and it just wouldn't go.
The sleeve, and he's to wear extra socks over the sleeve to kind of make it fit better.
I got 2 back here, and I got a scar from here to about here.
Show one on your other leg, not that leg, but yeah, that leg.
Scarred me there. I got 2 back there, and just little bites, and then they tried to take a vein out of here to repair this one, and it didn't work, so I got a scar from here to here.
The 3-year-old was playing in his backyard on Laurel Street when he was attacked by 2 pit bulls viciously. Those dogs belonged to a neighbor directly behind the family's home. They got past the fence and attacked the child and his mother.
One pit bull was barking, the other was quiet. Authorities say they are in this cage because they mauled a minister's wife. We met with that minister Chris Little, who is holding vigil by his wife's side at Lakeland Regional Medical Center.
She could move her fingers. We were very grateful for that, but in a lot of pain. There was a big gash here, a gash here, over here on this wrist. Right leg was her calf probably had 15, 20 punctures.
They both proceeded to chase me. They chased me up onto the point where I ended up across the street. And the whole time I was here, I had to call for help just to get back inside the house.
These are the two dogs Lisborn Dehaney says he was running from this morning. Muscular canines, a pit bull and an Argentine Mastiff. And the 20-year-old has every reason to be scared of them because this is what police say those dogs did to him back in June. Speaking exclusively to Eyewitness News, the Queens man says they bit his right arm and hand, leaving deep gashes and nerve damage. The scars still visible 5 months later.
From here to here, there's no feeling.
One of his cousins, just a year old.
They're waiting for someone to be killed before they do something about these dogs.
The family says police have told them this is a civil matter. Meanwhile, they plan on reporting the neglect to the ASPCA.
We're told troopers responded to a call of an aggressive dog. While there, they say a pit bull charged them. One of those officers pulled a service weapon and killed the dog. During the weekend, the state trooper shot and killed a dog in Queen Anne's County. We're told in that case, the dog attacked a woman.
A mother walking with her 3 daughters and a niece attacked by 2 pit bulls in the Bronx.
It happened last week, on a Friday morning, May 10th, at about 7:45. They've released photos of the brown and white pit bull that they say attacked 8 people. The apartment complex itself is gated, so we can't get inside, but several children had to be taken to the hospital, are expected to be okay, though. Police are now concerned about the pit bull that you see in those photos possibly having rabies. Police say they've been trying since the attack to find the pit bull or its owner.
A memorial for Anastasia Bingham sits at the same place where a pit bull attacked and killed her last Friday. The sheriff's department confirmed this is the dog that mauled the 5-year-old.
It was a vicious dog attack that left a 7-year-old girl with severe damages to her face and skull. The man whose pit bull type dog mauled the girl was sentenced to 4 years in prison for criminal negligence causing bodily harm.
Looking tame and tired right now, these same dogs attacked a 35-year-old woman in Applewood Sunday night. The victim was caught off guard by 2 aggressive pit bulls.
The incident happened at a residence. The female victim was at the residence. She was talking to the dog owner or occupant of the house on the step. The dogs are in the house. They burst out. One bit her on the leg. She went down. The other one bit her in the face.
Apparently my Florida blood tasted really good.
Just 1 week after moving to Suffolk,
I ain't never had nothing that tasted like that.
Michaela Clark found herself in the fight of her life.
And he just gave me a look. That look of, look, you're going down.
The struggle with her neighbor's pit bull left the 20-year-old mother with about a dozen bites from her back to her arm and hand.
It's on top of her, it's biting her, she's blocking her vital areas.
Jarrett Young was helping to capture the dog on Monday afternoon that he says got loose from this open gate next door.
Luckily, she was able to get away and give the dog her arm, and it grabbed her arm.
That's when he grabbed his handgun and found an open shot.
I put a lot of trust and a lot of faith in him at that crucial moment without even truly knowing him, just hoping and praying that he had a damn good shot.
Police say the dog died in front of Clark's home.
Well, people in parts of San Mateo had quite a scare this morning. Just after 9:30, a man called police to say he had just been attacked by 2 large pit bulls in the 600 block of Woodside Way. Officers chased the dogs as they sprinted onto a front lawn and attacked a landscaper. He was forced to use his leaf blower to defend himself. You can see the bite marks in that leaf blower. Then the dogs turned their attention to a patrol car, clawing and biting at the door. An officer eventually used his patrol car to hit the dogs. One of them was killed instantly. The other was picked up by animal control.
911, what are you reporting?
Hi, I've been attacked by 5 pit bulls. I'm a UPS driver.
UPS driver Kevin Backlund was delivering a package to this gated property in East Puyallup last month when a pack of pit bulls attacked him. The driver was covered in blood on top of a small trailer 4 feet off the ground and had one of the pit bulls latched on his leg.
Do you need medical aid?
Yes, I'm big out of vein. I'm bleeding profusely.
Backlund, a 59-year-old former Nevada Highway Patrol trooper, had deep bites to both legs, tearing into the muscle and down to the bone in the left leg.
He is still recovering from being attacked by a pit bull. The dog's owner is now speaking out, saying that she doesn't think it's the dog's fault. The child was riding his bike with his mother nearby when he was attacked. Well, Helms has more than one pit bull, and she says that a few months ago the same dog attacked the boy, attacked one of her other pit bulls.
Well, they're the makers.
Tonight, this woman who was forced to fight off a raging pit bull with a knife in order to save her grandmother and dog.
She says she was here along Mission Bay Park along the water with her dog when an unleashed pit bull came up and she says started tearing her dog apart. Well, she did the only thing she could think of. She says grab a knife and start stabbing that dog as many times as she could.
Bled from the pit bull.
A nightmare trip she's still painfully reliving.
Harley got in the way of the dog going after my grandma.
She was there Saturday with her 98-year-old grandma and her 7-year-old corgi Harley when out of nowhere, she says, a massive pit bull appeared and latched onto her little dog. The owner nearby, she says, did virtually nothing to stop the attack.
Harley was breathing her own blood and screaming for me.
Though she screamed for help and began punching the pit bull, there was no letting go. With Harley, she says, nearly lifeless in its jaws, she had to make a decision. She ran back to her car and got a knife.
I stabbed the dog over and over and over, and it would not let my dog go.
Still, it wouldn't release.
I slit its throat, and then I gutted it from its groin to its chest, and it finally let Harley go.
Days later, she says Harley's still recovering from the trauma, and so is she, with severe bite marks to her fingers and forearm. But the other pain, the heartbreak of what she says she had to do to save her dog's life.
I didn't want to take an animal's life. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I didn't wake up that morning to kill a dog.
A family in shock. The dogs allegedly escaped from their enclosure in a nearby house and charged at dry. The attack went on for 15 minutes before he succumbed to his injuries. Dry's family says the dogs ripped the flesh from his body.
Our heart is bleeding. So really, we really don't know what was the motive of this thing and what triggered the dogs, because we were really good friends with that people and the dogs is used to us, so it's really a tragic moment for us.
They say it's important for pit bulls in particular.
A pit bull is a glorious little loving puppy. It's not a fighter. It shouldn't be a fighter, but when it sees another dog, it will. And the other thing is that they like to be with humans.
Well, it's not flirt. It's a blizzard. You know the commercials?
Yeah, we'll be fine.
For a blizzard?
Yeah.
You got an earpiece. Hey, the dude with the camera's scared too, man. Call him. Call him. Maybe they'll get out of here.
We're not scared of you.
Do you comprehend? I moved from California.
I know.
No, you don't know. I moved from California in 2012. My parents gave me this house, and my son wanted a dog. I bought him a dog, and I was trying to get another dog. It's not like some pit bull dog, run around, get loose.
And that little girl will be in the hospital tonight, but it looks like she's going to be okay. As far as any charges or anything, nothing's pending at this point. There still needs to be further investigation, and this is actually the homeowner. We're going to toss it back to you in the studio, Randy.
I want to ask you if you can find any reports on any dogs being loose from my house or being loose and running around, or there is one. There was a dog fight. I got rid of it. One dog a long time ago.